This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome. It's episode 132 of the X&C Podcast, and I am the host, Colteastwood, here with my good friend, middle-aged game guy, or Mag with two G's.
Two G's. Remember that when you hate on me, you got to spell it correctly. Mag is just a mag, like a magazine that you get in the store, or the ones you find on your dad's pillow in the 80s. But anyways, yes, Colteastwood. How are we doing this evening?
Sports Illustrated?
He said he only used to look at them for the articles, but I mean, that's what they all say, right?
My dad got Sports Illustrated for a decade, and he had that subscription for so long. They had that football phone that they're giving away to new subscribers to the magazine. My dad got on the phone so mad. He's like, I've been a loyal subscriber, and I want that football phone. And I'm like, he just wanted a second copy of the swimsuit edition, but he made it. He made it through. Welcome to the show, guys. Everybody, this is one of the biggest weeks in Xbox probably for this year, believe it or not. We're going into the Developer Direct in 2 days, or in 1 day after tonight's show, and that's going to be one of the biggest things that Xbox is going to be doing this year outside the showcase in June. So if you're excited, you have every right to be. But if you're wondering if you should keep that hype in check, yeah, we can do that as well. But Meg and I have a crazy show today because the leaks and the insider competitive race that's been going on has caused a bit of a stir amongst friends and colleagues and people getting articles written about them. Even Mag being called world famous YouTuber, I suppose.
Wait, that's a lie, first of all. Second of all, let me tell you something. Where is he in the chat? BT Maverick. Moderators, can you ban him immediately? He asked if I put sugar in my pasta sauce. That is no. I understand why. Actually, let me say I understand why some people do that to take away some of the acidity of the tomatoes and the tomato sauce. However, your best bet is actually put a little bit of baking soda in there, just a teaspoon of baking soda.
Oh, really?
It'll foam up a little bit, and it takes away some of the acidity of the tomato sauce. Stop putting sugar in there. It's nonsense. As an Italian, I'm offended. Yes.
My grandma is not Italian or anything, but growing up, she put a little bit of cinnamon in the spaghetti sauce, and that she's the only one that I had spaghetti sauce like that. So when we had spaghetti meatballs at her house, it was always a different thing. And I don't know how much cinnamon, but it was you could definitely tell it was there. Is that an absolute atrocity to put a little bit of cinnamon in there?
You know what? You could have some fun with things like that. You can even put a little allspice if you want to get cute. Cinnamon is in allspice, funny enough, right? So it's
Old Spice or allspice? Because I'm willing to try both.
We're gonna make I'm gonna make a tomato sauce on my TikTok, and I'm going to drop an entire block of Old Spice deodorant in there. I want to see what happens to it. I might eat it and then as I'm in the hospital. Listen, Destin Legary made a video about me yesterday. Imagine my surprise. I'm sitting there. It wasn't exclusively about me, but I mean, I'm sitting there on my exercise bike doing my thing, and I'm catching up on my YouTubing, and here comes Destin. He goes, popular YouTuber, middle-aged game guy, says blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, first of all, Destin, I'm not popular. Okay, we can get that out of the way right now. Right, Astro, whatever your face is? I'm sure you're in there tonight. I blocked him on Twitter.
Are you talking about Astro Cyborg that clips like everyone's podcasts? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's always like miserable about like life in general. I'll give you my wife's train schedule. That might help you out. Anyways, I went there. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm not popular. I'm just a douchebag with a microphone, and it is what it is. But anyways, all joking aside, great video, Dustin. My God, Destin. Can I address this quickly while we have a chance about the events of the weekend? Or are we going to get into this later?
We're gonna get into that. I also kind of want to set the audience. So for everybody who's here, just to give you an idea, we've got a running ticker along the bottom that is the main points of topics we'll be talking about today. And one of the things that we will end up talking about sooner or later in the show is there's kind of been a whole change about this whole Xbox is going third party thing. And I have a totally different perspective. In fact, maybe a lot of cold water to pour over that, which we'll get into that. from the as we get into that with the show, because there's a lot to say. Because a friend of mine was like, I was talking to Randolph Thor, and he said, people are going to go through 5 stages of grief when they find out, some game or some games are going to come to other platforms outside of exclusivity. And there's anger, there's denial, there's bargaining, there's acceptance. I don't know what the 5th one was, but acceptance being the last one. And we've all kind of gone through that over the course of the week. And I want to talk about that because it seems like we were getting really upset and spicy about what's going on, and it may not be as big as some of us who are trying to explain it away would have thought. We'll get into that as well. But welcome, everybody, to the show. We've got Septic Sauce in the chat, a.k.a. Gaz, who's getting ready to rebrand his channel. And he says, if Xbox goes third party, Colt will marry J-Dub City. I don't know about where he lives, but in the state of Washington, you can't marry someone if they blocked you on Twitter for 6 years. So it's probably not going to happen. He's blocked me for so long. We probably won't be able to really make that marriage official. But I wanted to start
from Texas.
Texas, huh?
He's from Texas. I only know that because I'm a pony bot, right? So I secretly follow all those guys under my like a little kid when they're like trying to hide from their parents. I put my bed sheets over me, and then I just have like the glow of my phone, and then I check all the Sony stuff when no one's looking, because that's what I do secretly, and I wear my little horn. Anyways, carry on, Colteastwood. What would you like to discuss this evening?
I want to discuss something that I probably shouldn't, but that's what makes a really good show, right? This past week, since Gaz is probably still here in the chat, I'm going to do this delicately. A YouTuber that covers mostly PlayStation stuff was making fun of people who make infographics or key art or celebrating gaming or roadmap graphics, or even makes sizzle reel montages or any type of creation content that celebrates the Xbox platform for free. And they said that this is, what were the words? A very negative word, that this is some type of behavior where you do this stuff for free, creating stuff and not getting paid by Xbox. And for those of you who know, I've got 15, 20 years of video production history where this is how I make content. And so I've made sizzle reels, I've made montages. There's one at the beginning of the show if you've been here every week. And I make those for 2 purposes. I make them for my videos. Well, let's say I make them for 3 purposes, Mag. I make them for my videos. I make them to share on Twitter later, on social media. And 3, I make them so the audience, you, have something enjoyable to watch other than me talking in front of a green screen with some random gameplay or just watching random gameplay. I try to give you pointed, powerful, exciting footage to look at while you're watching my videos, and hopefully that makes you want to stick around and watch the content. Well, this podcaster / content creator, I don't know if you could call them content creators. So if you just stand in front of a mic or sit in front of a mic, you're not really creating other than a lot of hot air. But Gaz made a joke at this guy and says, why can't people just flex their creative muscles, right? And show what they've done. People have been shown to actually get work or get jobs or get hired by showing their creative talent. And he said, and Gaz's words, it's better than getting in front of a microphone and farting into the windscreen. So, without saying names, I don't know, Mag, if you kind of followed some of that nonsense, but it's a shot at people like Clobrol and other great graphic designers like Sean the Brie that make really great content that celebrates what we love.
Yeah, well, listen, at the end of the day, I can tell you this. When it comes to creativity and it comes to anybody being able to have any form of talent, the majority of people in this world who don't have talent don't like that. They get upset by it. They're threatened by it. They're upset by it. And it's jealousy at the end of the day. And anybody who has everybody's got one talent somewhere in this world. Some people just go through their entire life and never discover that. They never unlock it. They never see it. They never. And you know what? You could blame that on a million things. You could blame it on laziness, you could blame it on not caring, or you could even blame it on parents who never exposed you to all these, to all these different things when you're a child or whatever else that would spark your interest, right? It's very important to do that with your children as well. You have to introduce them and expose them to a bunch of different things, and all of a sudden they might go, wow, I really like doing that. And then you'd be like, then go pursue that, or you know what I mean? Do that kind of thing. Go for it, and then you can, grow that talent and whatever. For anybody who's crapping on that kind of stuff, that's just jealousy. At the end of the day, that's just pettiness and jealousy, and it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be tolerated by anybody. And the thing is, if you have those talents, I think that you like flaunt them. Let the world see, because for every idiot that's going to say so, every idiot in the chat, not this chat because this chat rocks, except you, Matthew. I see you saying something. He must be French Canadian, Matthew. I am Matthew. Yes,
hey, Matthew.
I am going to give a cigarette to a baby. Watch this. Oh, anyways, in all seriousness, Matthew, I'm just messing around. Come on, I'm just playing.
I mean, you're allowed to. You're allowed to.
Well, by genetics,
well, I like that.
French,
I like that, Mag. And I like that you said most people have a talent, because
they do.
I know a lot of people, and there's things that they do really well. And then in this era where people have an Instagram or a Twitter presence or a Facebook presence or whatever, you've been able to see people blossom where they're really great on camera. Like, I have a friend who, he does real estate, but he's really great and charismatic on camera, and people probably really enjoy that. And if you're, I think it's just kind of funny to say you create this key art or these sizzle reels for free, and that's pitiful behavior. But this other person is talking about the PlayStation platform as a full-time job and not getting paid by PlayStation for it. But, some people, sometimes we get paid in different ways for the work we do. I just wanted to kind of call that out and make fun of it a little bit.
The thing is, at the end of the day, Colt, I sing a lot.
Yeah, I like your voice.
I only released one video, but I could do more. I might do more. Actually, I've got another recording that I'm doing, but that's for something completely different for YouTube. But other stuff, like, I just do that stuff for fun. Nobody pays me for that. You know what I mean? But I enjoy doing it. I have parties at my house. I have karaoke parties at my house, all kinds of stuff, all the time. And we have great times doing it. But the thing is, I don't understand how anybody would want to, because of whatever little, I don't know, whether it's jealousy, fanboyism, whatever else, you're trying to stunt somebody else's growth as a person, especially when it comes to the arts. Because I can tell you right now, North America, especially North America, right now, the arts are getting stunted for many different reasons, mostly because of funding in schools and things like that. And so people are turning, like you said, to social media, that kind of thing, right? So you're seeing people on TikTok. Yeah, there's a lot of stupid stuff on TikTok, but there's also a lot of great stuff there too. Yeah. Right? Yeah. If you seek it out. Same thing with Instagram, especially the bikini shots. Very talented young ladies out there. Anyways, so hey, what can I say?
My wife is always them.
Yeah, my wife always looking over my shoulder. She's like, "Who's that? One of your girlfriends?" And I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "What's the matter? Jealous?"
That's Colt. He's doing a new try-on haul. Now watch it. Don't be saying anything bad about Colt. Red Wolf has been a member for channel member for 20 months. Says, "Happy Renegade." Oh, I mean X&C Tuesday. Yeah, sorry we're doing the show today, but thank you for being here. Over 600 of you. Hit the like button if you enjoy the show. Let me finish reading this. I got a couple other things. So he says, so happy to know that Final Fantasy VII Remake has finally come to Xbox. Take it from Special Nick, he knows. We're going to get into some of those leaks and explain them away the best we can. Hargeet Johnny, thank you for the channel member chat. He says, interesting take from the media guy. Has he ever seen cosplay? Sports fans? Imagine someone creating an entire media org around a gaming platform. And he does. We do. And it made me think, Mag, people who know me pretty well know that there's one thing that's more important to me than the 0.000013 cents I get per view on YouTube. And that's a real number, all right? One thing that's more important than that fraction of a penny to me is the amount of people who saw my stuff and said, I really enjoyed this video. That, if you're a designer or a creator, that's where it's at. So thank you, everybody, for being here. 700 people you watching. Like I said, hit the like button. The chat's right there. Go hit the like button. Come on back. I love all the friends and people here. We got That Blue Number, Red Wolf, Johnny Kizana, Sailor Mercury, Skillet Will. Too many people to mention. Happy Bomb also running the gambit over there on the band hammer and all that stuff. Thank you we really appreciate you.
Blue's here. I just realized. Yeah. That Blue Number. What's up?
Yeah, and
by the way, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mag. I was just going to say, when you were talking, I kept thinking about That Blue Number in the chat. I don't know what type of things she likes to create a craft for, or her talent is, but she's like, I'm going to set up a background for my on-camera presence on podcasts, and she puts together this fantastic backdrop of lights, she made this logo for her name, and it's like, I don't know what else she does well, But I'm like, that's one thing she does really well. And she did it because she knows that people are going to see it and that maybe someone will say, hey, I really appreciate the work you did. And so that was clown behavior, bashing people for creating content like that.
Colt, I see it in the chat, buddy. I see it in the chat right now. And you look at that, people are saying, Mag and Colt and this and that. Colt, you're great. Mag, you're great. I love listening to the show and this and that. Yeah, okay, we always get our haters. You get haters, especially the ones that make those the thumbnails with you with the long Pinocchio nose. He's a lying ex-bot. And then I'm whatever, fill in the blank of all the hateful things people say about me. That's fine. Whatever. That's part of the deal too. But the thing is, what we're doing right now may not be, for some people, may not be considered an art form. But you know what? To be able to talk and entertain and be able to do something for 2 hours, that is an art form in itself. Because if everybody could do this, then there would be 8 million radio shows we could be listening to right now, or other YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of YouTube out there, but there's a lot of bad YouTube out there.
We can't all be Whoopi Goldberg and David Lee Roth in their golden years on the radio. They never made it, by the way. They didn't make it. But what I was going to say is, shout out to Pushing Polygons for being the channel member sponsor for the podcast via the, I can't even think, the super class. But I'm working on another sponsorship that Mag and I are going to partner with. But right now I've got on the corner of the screen Factor 75. We ordered a bunch of meals from them and I did a promo, and I'm not going to push this on you, but if you scan that, you get 50% off your order, and you could try it out. These are the kind of meals where you just tear them open and microwave them and just eat. And we're getting our first run in here tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But thanks for everybody for helping the show go on and on and on. But you're here to hear about the news. So let me tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to start off by talking about the Xbox Developer Direct, what to expect, that 5th secret game that may be there, if there will be a shadow drop or not. We're going to dive into a little bit about Indiana Jones and some hot water that the hot water pit that Mag got dipped into this weekend with that.
Thanks a lot, guys, by the way.
And yes, Mag will be talking about some of the leaks. He'll also be covering his own rear end over the leaks as well. We're going to dive into that, and we're going to try and take care of that properly because I feel like I've been leaning back on my chair a little bit about how leaks are portrayed over the microphone. So we'll try to do that the best we can, and also be sensitive to some of you. You're like, I don't like hearing leaks. You plug your ears. We're going to talk about Contraband, which is some news that's come out, and I did a video today. Check that out. We're also going to talk about Gears Collection, a new franchise coming back, and like Red Wolf foreshadowed, Final Fantasy finally coming to Xbox and what that really means. And then we'll get into that a little bit third party. So Meg, I've talked too much. What would you like? How would you like to start talking about the Developer Direct? You lead the discussion.
No. The one thing that overshadows everything else, because some of the games that they're showing at those, especially like Hellblade II, we've already seen. I mean, I know we haven't, like some people are like, I haven't seen enough of it. But there does come a point where, to me, I do enjoy a bit of mystery. You know what I mean? Like, give me the quality, give me an idea of what I'm going to do in the game. I know Rand's talking about that, spoken about that before when he talks about he doesn't like cinematic trailers because that doesn't actually portray what you're doing in the game. He likes the gameplay trailers because you could project your own self into that character and say, oh, so this is what I'm doing. Right? When you see a character running, jumping, pulling out a sword, doing whatever, and you're like, that's what I'm going to do during the game. So I understand. So that I gravitate the same way that Rand does. I gravitate towards that. Now, the thing is, we've seen so much Hellblade over the last 4 years. To me, I'm actually done with that game until it actually comes out. When it comes out, and I read the reviews and everything else, and I mean, I'm going to play it anyway, but I mean, I just want to see what's going to happen. And then I will play the game and I'll experience it for myself. I don't want too much information on it. And I think I'm getting too much information where it's going to be like, oh my God, they're talking about it again. You know what I mean? Didn't they do that with Halo? Was it Halo Infinite? I can't remember which one it was. It was either Halo and I don't remember which IP it was. And they just kept showing it and PlayStation's guilty of that too. And they're like showing it. And then they do like the little thing. I'm like, stop already. Leave a little mystery, give everybody that morsel, make a great game, because overexposing a bad game doesn't really help it. Overexposing a good game really doesn't make a difference at the end of the day. Once it gets out there and then the buzz is out there and great reviews and everything else, then you expose the hell out of it because it's already on the floor and gamers have already got it in their hands. So Moving on to Indy Jones is basically my only.
Hold on. Before you move to the next one,
sure.
I agree with you 100% about they've shown too much Hellblade. At this point, with the combat segment we saw, I think we've seen almost everything we need to see. But
that's enough.
That's enough, right? I agree.
That's
but
enough.
I think, according to the quote they had for the description, it sounds like Hellblade's segment in the developer direct will be all about in-studio and on-site location creation for the game. So I'm kind of like, I guess they have to have Hellblade in the developer direct because it's coming out soon. Before we move to indie, I guess we should cover that because we'll start it with the first leak thing. I very casually said, I don't know, like 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, that I heard that Hellblade's release date was May 21st. Well, today, a Brazilian gaming site also heard the same thing. And I don't even remember who I heard it from. And this is why Meg and I want to talk a little bit about, there's two different sources of news. Sometimes we hear it from a close friend who's like, please be careful. You know, this could cost me or my buddy their job. With the May 21st release date, I honestly don't even remember who told me. I just said it in a leaning back on the chair passing thing, and then I have to deal with the outfall from that. If you guys can understand me saying, we're hearing that Hellblade is May 21st, and people are like, I'm going to hold you at your word for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you can, as important as it is to you. But it's my fault, right? So now it sounds like May 21st might actually be true. And it's not because I'm amazing or I'm magical or anything. I'm absolutely not. And this, Meg, I want you to talk about this because this is a problem where there is this arms race to be the first one to leak information where it's going to hit critical mass.
And see, you know, the big thing is that's a problem, and I'll tell you why. And that's why I pumped the brakes after Friday's show I did with Risk It and That Blue Number and Infinite Number and the rest of them.
You were pedal to the metal during the show, Meg.
Well, I was just, but the thing is, though, you know what? I didn't actually say too much. It was a lot of it was like just kind of like nuggets of information. But anyway, I don't want to get into the semantics of that. What I do want to get into is the idea is that I'm not interested, and that's why I didn't respond to literally anybody on Twitter this weekend. I saw everything. I just didn't respond. I blocked a lot of people who are really obnoxious and whatever else.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them.
Yeah, they blocked them. And then they got mad that I blocked them. That made it even funnier. Why did he block me? And I'm like, dude, I'm not part of an abusive relationship. You can't hit me and expect me to say, expect me to say I love you. Like, get out of here. What are you, stupid? Anyways, the point is that there comes a point where it turns into like the Hollywood thing where everybody starts screaming at leaks and this and that, whatever, trying to be the first to do it. I'm not interested in any of that. None of it whatsoever. Yeah. And the other reason why is because then sometimes when you're wrong, you're going to get called out and you're going to make look like a fool because not that you're wrong per se. It's just that when you hear things very early, things do change, people. They change. And all of a sudden you might have last minute to be like, you know what? We got to can this. It's not working out, whatever. Why don't you ask how The Last of Us Factions is doing, right? Same deal, right? Well, think about it. Like Factions 2. They've been working on it for forever. It's coming out, this and that, whatever. And then all of a sudden they can it. The same happens at Xbox every single day they can projects. It's just the way it goes.
We were talking about this pre-show right before we went up. Yes. You're talking about how many games are, never come to fruition.
Only like 4 or 5% of actual game pitches actually make it to the production process. Right? It's the same in Hollywood. Like 95% of all scripts and productions don't even get it. Oh, not production, excuse me. Hollywood scripts don't even get into the production stage. They don't even get picked up. So it's the same thing with video games. They have 95% of the pitches don't make it.
Yeah.
So anyways, the point is some of them do make it. And then even when they do make it, some of them just don't work out. Right? And in the end, they'll just be like, you know what, guys, it's not worth the time and trouble. Things change.
That's another one we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about where actually I think things not only didn't work out, they might have actually changed. We'll get into that too.
Scalebound, another example. Like, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Scalebound, ready to go. They show a trailer. Didn't come out. But anyways, the point is, sorry, I'm going to spill this out again. But the thing is, when it comes to these leaks and all that kind of stuff, there is a fine line that we have to walk. We will get into that a little bit later.
Yeah,
about the fine line of saying what you can say and whatever.
It's the line.
Yeah, and you just got to be careful and you got to be a little bit respectful. And like I said, I backed off because I'm not interested in clout. That's another thing. I want to get that off my chest quick. Some people, clout chaser. Dude or dudette, I've been on YouTube for years. If I was clout chasing, I would have done it 4 years ago or 5 years ago. Not all of a sudden, magically now out of nowhere, I decide to, 2024 is my clout year. Let me go after that clout. Like, are you it's so stupid, man.
It's such a hard thing it's a hard thing to deny, because people who share information earlier say something first, like they're going to get clout regardless, right? And I did a lot of thinking about this, because over the leaks that we talked about on the last show, and you shared some stuff last week, and then you shared a lot on Xbox Infinite podcast on Friday. And then, Special Nick and Rand and Jez, like they have their own amount of leaks. And I thought about this because I thought, I really don't do it for popularity. This is going to sound completely unbelievable, but I really do it because we have an audience and we want to share with you, get you keyed in on the information. Hey, I'm hearing this game's going to come out sooner than this. Like we're hearing Indiana Jones might make it in 2024 was like a conversation last year, right?
That's right.
And we hear these things. We don't know if they're true, but we kind of share them. And hey, get excited about this. It could be a possibility. If it gets delayed, it gets delayed. What doesn't get delayed these days? So let's talk about Indiana Jones, Mag, because you've got more to cover about this.
I was being serious. He's getting the golf clap because he's right. At the end of the day, we're doing it. If we say anything, which, by the way, I'm going to be careful with the things that I do say or whatever, because I'm not, again, I'm trying to portray to people that I'm not interested in, I want to be that guy. I want IGN talking about me. I want Game Rant to do articles about me, which they did. I don't want any of that. Mm-mm. I just want us as gamers and friends to be excited. This is not my career. I have a career. And this is my fun. And when I hear, I want us to all be excited as a community and be like, yo, that game's coming out. That's dope. This is awesome. This is great. Let's get excited together. This is not what I do for a living, right? I entertain for a living, whatever.
Yeah, I know. And I have to say before you get into Indiana Jones that we do understand that you have to be super careful, because like these teams, these are their big moments. So I heard... Somebody told me they heard about the Indiana Jones thing way before it got announced to Developer Direct, and there's a certain information that I won't get, because I might go, hey, guess what I heard? So I'm really reevaluating how I do that, because we're going to talk about Indiana Jones now. I just want to say, if I see an article where it says YouTuber Colteastwood said, I'm not happy with that. And I've talked to Special Nick. Yes, I know. And I've talked to Special Nick behind the scenes. And when this happens, sometimes he's like, I didn't want this. I just want the conversation with our audience. I want people to like, what do you think? What do you think of this? How big could it be? Is it a good idea? So for those of you who have the burden of hearing information early, let's try and keep some of it held back. Let's talk about Indiana Jones. We're going to get maybe 2 minutes of gameplay and a gameplay trailer and a lot of discussion about Machine Games. So tell us what you know and what you heard and what you think's going to happen.
I don't know if it's first person or third person. A lot of people are speculating about that. I didn't know. And when people went nuts this weekend, which didn't make me happy, I was just like, I don't want to be a part of this. And I'm like, but whatever. I'm like, but I did see the questions, and some of the questions people were asking, is it going to be first? Is it third? Oh, 343 helped. They're worked on, excuse me. They want to, I don't want to be
reset and what you said on the other podcast about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like that 343 and ID Software, or ID Tech, or whatever, and Angle GameWorks helped work on the game. They did not I said co-developed, or I can't remember what the hell I said in the show. But they did. Bethesda actually did correct me in a very direct way when they said, can you please just say worked on? And I'm like, absolutely no problem. I did reassure Bethesda. I was like, I'm not interested in any of that stuff. I'm not going to go carry on with any more nonsense. But yes, I'm more than happy to correct that. So yeah, they wanted me to say worked on, and that's fine. So I don't know what that means. The problem is, how speculation runs wild on social media, where people are like, oh, id Software and 343, they only make first-person games. That means it's first person. And I'm like, why would you instantly assume that? Like, what if 343 just worked on the trees? Like, how do you know, right? Like, how the hell do you know what they worked on? Maybe reflections and trees and clouds. Like, I don't know.
I don't like the attitude that these studios normally don't make third-person games, so they can't.
I know. Like, what the hell does that mean?
Through a mod, you could play Halo Infinite in third person, and it looks perfect. Absolutely perfect. So they've been able to do both.
Mod. And that's a mod for games. Like, right. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, and yes, and machine games are also famous for what, Colt? They make first person games as well, right? I mean, like your Wolfensteins and or Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
Or Wolfenstein. Yes.
I put up a poll in the chat.
Frankenstein, by the way, not Frankenstein. Yes.
I put up a poll and I said Indiana Jones will be first person, third person, or both first and third person. And all we have is Todd Howard saying Lex Friedman asked him, is it an action adventure game? What is it? And he goes, it doesn't do anything. What did he say? It's a mix or something like that. He said it doesn't do just one thing, is what he said.
You can't ask Todd Howard questions. The guy answers questions like Willy Wonka. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like,
because he lifting drinks.
Yeah, he answers in riddles. Yeah. But I think he is an older Willy Wonka. We have to look into that. Can someone look in to see if Todd Howard is actually Willy Wonka?
Someone remind me, DM me on Twitter or on somewhere on Xbox later and say, Colt, you need to make a Todd Howard Willy Wonka meme, and I'll drum that up tonight or tomorrow.
Hey man, God bless AI for that.
So someone from Bethesda reached out and said, "Hey, we heard you talking about the co-development thing. Can you it's real?" They were basically telling you that like 343 probably helped with something. Like coding or whatever.
They literally told me to say worked on, do not say co-developed. And I'm like, no, it's no problem. They didn't threaten me or anything. It wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, and Todd Howard said to Ryan McCaffrey when Starfield was about to release, he's like, we heard that it helped with the combat. And he was like, well, I mean, they talked to us about it and they kind of, what was the word he used? They consulted with us. Like they had great ideas, but he said, no, we've kind of improved that first person combat on our own. So
okay, well, there you go. So, I mean, someone from like Tango Gameworks was probably walking by with a coffee and just looked and went, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Why don't you make them jump like that? That could be counted. Yeah, that could be counted as worked on. I don't know."
Is that what you said? 343 Tango and Machine Games are working on it. Is that what you said?
And id or ID.
Oh, and id. Yeah. And so Tango Gameworks is like, we can make him jump to a rhythm and smash things to a beat. We can do that if you need our help. Yeah.
Let's give Indiana Jones a guitar as a weapon instead of the whip. And then he could use that to fight ancient Aztec warriors.
I'm going to give you some foreshadowing that, Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves may be one of very few games that Xbox takes multi-platform from their whole suite. And we'll get into that a little bit later.
Sure.
There's a whole mess that goes with that. And, hey, some of us overreacted. Maybe even I overreacted, and I wasn't even mad. So, Indiana Jones...
yes. Speaking of,
do you know when it's coming out, Mag?
No, I have no idea. I do not know when it's coming out. But the fact that they're showing this at a developer direct leads me to believe that it's much sooner rather than later. I would have to assume, as most people in the chat would assume, or anybody listening later, that we'd have to assume that it's 2024.
Okay.
Because why would you show it?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna, but where is it gonna be? I think the best idea for this, if you're gonna launch, if you're saying Hellblade is in the spring, then I think that you launch it in the fall so that you space it out, give it time to breathe, and then you've got what a great round of games at the end of the year. You could have Call of Duty Gulf War coming to Game Pass, Indiana Jones coming to Game Pass, or just into the ecosystem in general. That's a great 1-2 punch right there.
After we get through the summer spell, right? Because I think Indiana Jones is going to come out in the early fall. Red Wolf just texted me, "Hey Colt, you need to make that Willy Wonka meme."
Dude, I'm sorry, Todd. Todd, don't call me at home and be like, dude, can you not call me Willy Wonka now? We just called you about the Indiana Jones. We don't need you to... Yeah, don't be calling me Willy Wonka. I was just making jokes, but you are kind of funny.
So,
you do answer ridiculously in questions. I'm sorry. It's just a fact. Anyways.
No, he does. He really does.
He does, man. It's unnerving. It drives me nuts. I'm like, dude, can't you just see first person?
Well, I mean, he's trying to protect his people that are working on games.
I know.
I mean, but he is. Well, he's kind of a mix between Oompa Loompa and Willy Wonka. He's amazing. I couldn't believe
that, not me. Okay.
Well,
I did not say that.
Todd and I are not tall people, and I stood and talked to him for a few minutes. And we're not the tallest people on the planet, but what a real human. Dante and I stood there and talked to him I've told this story a bunch of times, like 10 minutes, and then he was talking to my wife, and that blew number for like 15 minutes. We're like, what's the deal over there? And he's just a dude that's made amazing games his whole life. So Indiana Jones is going to have like a 2-minute gameplay trailer, which I think would probably be 50-50 cinematics and 50-50 gameplay, or maybe, well, I'm sure it'll be all in-engine Knowing Machine games. All of their cinematics are in-engine. So if you see it, that's what the game looks like. And gosh dang it, I hope it's more third person than anything. They even have a orange drawing. Shout out to almost 1,000 people watch the show. Thank you for being here. If we want to get 1,000 people, you have to text your little brother and your grandma and tell them to sign into the show and say hi. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button while they're doing that as well. Indiana Jones is supposed to be 38 years old in this game, Mag, because it takes place in between Raiders and Tomb Raider.
And Tomb Raider, that's a big window. That's like 70 years. Yes. Can we narrow it down? It's between Temple of Doom and Raiders. Temple of Doom happened before Raiders.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom is a year before Raiders. And then,
so right in the sweet spot.
Which is funny because even though it came even though it came out after, like Temple of Doom came after Raiders, it was still considered it's a prequel, yeah. So it goes Temple of Doom, this game, Raiders, and then they're probably going to do maybe a couple of other games between Raiders and Last Crusade. Maybe if this game is popular enough, maybe a couple of sequels. They could squeeze it in after Raiders, and then you have, or whatever. I mean, there's a huge.
It's probably more viable than Wolfenstein right now, even though I love the series to death. It hasn't made a ton of money. Todd Howard did say that Raiders of the Lost Ark is no arguing. He said is the best movie ever made. He said everything about the opening and the way that movie goes is perfect. So I would expect Indiana Jones and the Ancient Circle, or people are calling it the Great Circle, but there's literally a book on the first trailer that says the Ancient Circle that I recreated in Photoshop for video. Indiana Jones and the Ancient Circle will probably be in the feel and tone of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and because Todd Howard's been working on this concept since 2009, Mag, so he's been waiting for the right team, and he said Machine Games was perfect for it. So that's Indiana Jones. Takes place in 1937, so that's where we're at for Indiana Jones. So what else do we have in the Developer Direct? We're not going to talk about Aura History Untold. I refuse to talk about that game. If you like RTSs, I don't know, maybe another show we'll talk about those.
I'm not interested.
What's the other one?
I don't downplay anybody that likes those. It's just not my bag.
Indiana Jones and the Golden Ticket, says Ghost Vader.
Yeah, right.
I got a golden ticket.
By the way, Matthew, again in the chat, called me an Oompa Loompa. Unbelievable. I don't know what I'm going to do about this guy.
Wait, how tall are you?
5'8.5".
You Oompa Loompa. I'm 5'9". You're Mag's an Oompa Loompa. Everybody write in the chat, Mag the Oompa Loompa. What do you get when you gobble down treats?
Yep. Wonderful.
Mag, I can't wait to hug you. I'm going to be like...
Okay, half an inch. Can you hear this guy? I'm half a foot shorter. I'm literally half an inch shorter than. However, there's a funny thing though. A lot of people don't think about this. Yeah, but look at these
shoes. Like you won't even be able to kiss me. I'll be up so high.
I wear disco platform shoes, so I'm actually about 6'4" when you'll see me in real life. So it's actually quite a. Ask Noof Nukem. I'm a giant. I look like a pimp. But anyways, that's a whole other story. That's what I actually do for a career, by the way.
Oh, the other chat's game killing me too.
The chat's hilarious tonight. By the way, my second screen is on my right side, so I keep looking over here. I got to move it back to the left side where I can see both screens without turning my head. But tonight, it just happens to be there, so I'll fix it halfway through the show. That being said, that other game isn't it Avowed?
It is. It is Avowed.
It's Avowed. Okay, I don't know what the hell this game is going to be like. Okay, at first glance, when they showed that little trailer where the dude's hand kind of caught fire, and then they showed a bunch of arrows flying, and then that was it. I'm like, ooh, that's
fire.
Let's see. Well, it was literally fire, yeah. But I didn't know what the hell it was. So I'm like, okay, what is this? And then when they said what it was, I'm like, okay, I'm interested. And then they showed that little trailer, And the irony is, instead of getting more hyped, I think some people, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm saying I did get a temperature of the room, and it felt like people were like, I'm not so sure about this. But again, it's a trailer.
The mature tone was really like vacuumed out with the colorful trailer. They did say that the production company that put that trailer down cranked up the contrast and saturation past what they actually wanted, but still the game has a Outer Worlds level of tonality to it.
Sure. It wasn't what I expected. I was thinking it was, for whatever reason, I was thinking myself personally, it was like a dark fantasy, like a Dark Souls kind, not a Souls game in terms of like the gameplay, but I meant in terms of its aesthetic. I was thinking like it was like a dark fantasy, like really mature, gritty. That kind of thing. It was going to be gritty, dirty, violent, scary, a little bit of horror, but a whole lot of goth. That kind of thing, kind of like how I like my side chicks. But anyways, besides all that, I didn't say anything. Honey, I didn't say that. I'm sorry, my wife is totally listening to this show right now.
Also, she pulls you off camera.
Yeah, pulls me off camera. No, she's used to my crap. She's used to my garbage coming out of my mouth. So imagine living with this. Some people are like, I can't stand listening to Meg. Imagine living with Meg 24 hours a day. It's ridiculous. I even talk in my sleep. Anyways, I was expecting that kind of a game.
You're laying in bed going 343 co-developed Indiana Jones. Yeah. 343 co-developed Indiana Jones.
And then of course Bethesda has my house bugged anyway, so they're like, God damn it, that guy's speaking about it again in his sleep. Anyways.
Let me read these. We'll talk about Avowed because there's a little bit to dive into, but I asked the audience in the poll. Yeah, I'll lead that since I know a little bit more about it. Dean Rivera says, thank you for the $5 super. He says, just got a corgi puppy, and this little guy is taking from all of my Xbox gaming. I want to play, but don't want to feel like a parent that ignores their kid. Oh, man, I bet that's a cute dog. I'll tell you what, Dean, put down a blanket next to your couch where you game and put that little guy right there or right on the couch and just, pet him in between loading screens on Starfield. That'd be great. Red Wolf gifted 1 channel membership to BT Maverick. So welcome. BT Maverick's been around here a long time. Good to have you. Web Dave says, can't wait for the Xbox Developer Direct. Colt and Mag, great to hear your thoughts. Everyone hit the like. Dave? Yeah, what's up, buddy? I'm going to be on his show in like 2 weeks on a Sunday.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, Dante, my good friend Spriggan113, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I appreciate it. It's emblazoned in orange, and it looks beautiful. He says, Colt makes sizzle reels to hurt the hooves feelings by, and he had to say the name, Moriarty.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I don't know who that name is, but he is He is the bartender at Megaton in Fallout 3.
I thought he was the bad guy from the James Bond movie.
Yeah, probably. Dante, you're silly. Yodana Kizada, thank you for the $2 super and amazing. I forgot the word. A moderator. He says, "Have you had the clout? It's my favorite."
Wow.
Have you had the clout? It's my hit it.
Sounds like, I know. Sounds like a disease that. Sorry, never mind. I wasn't going to get into that, but yeah.
It does. It sounds like a transmitted disease that goes to your feet.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Can you imagine, yeah, right.
You like hot fudge sundaes? All right.
My grandma can't go hiking with us because she's got the clout and her feet swell up really bad.
Dude. I was going to say something worse, but
we might as well just keep it sort of PG. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, thank you so much for the Australian $5. And if you know anything about the Australian currency, that's like $7,000 over there. So he says, any comment on the game executive who said, quote, you won't own games and you'll like it. He says it's paraphrased, but not exact wording. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that with Mag real quick. Ubisoft, one of Ubisoft's leads or somebody at the head of Ubisoft said, we want people to enjoy their games like they enjoy their movies, TV, and music on demand, streamed, or rented in a service. And
I don't like that.
You don't. But how about you and I argue about it real quick? Is that all right?
You know what? That's
go
fine.
Ahead.
And I'll tell you
first.
Here are my thoughts. I'm a reformed man. And here's the thing. At first, I was all about the streaming services. I was all about, I mean, even the Game Pass thing, that's fine because it's a great deal, especially for gaming because movies don't cost $100, right? But like, so like the Game Pass thing, I'll let that one slide. But the other things, especially like movies, streaming services, all that kind of stuff, oh, you know, you're just going to consume product the way that they have it. The problem with all that is that they control, I mean, I understand they own it, but at the same time, they control everything. They pull it on, they pull it off. Whenever they feel like you can watch it today, it's gone tomorrow or whatever. It's gone next month, this and that.
That's
you don't
true.
have any control of that. The other thing, and this is the more nefarious thing, and this is the thing that I don't like, is that they can actually change things at will. And by the way, they've secretly, secretly / not so secretly, been changing things, censoring things, cutting parts out of movies that people haven't noticed. Because on the streaming service, they can do that. They can't come to my house and they can't cut out a controversial scene from RoboCop or whatever movie I got, and they can't cut it out of my disc.
There's an insult that the bad guy gives Paul Walker in the opening like 25 minutes of the Fast and Furious 1. He calls him a name that is inappropriate today, but was normalized 20 years ago. So that's like something, I don't know if they did it, but that's one of those things where streaming services would just go in and go, you know what, we're going to remove, we're going to take that word out of Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. We're going to take that out of there. So those savvy people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about, Cole.
So argue with me. Like,
he had his own jet airplane.
Those are your reasons. They can change the movies. They can pull them.
And they have control of it. When they go down, you don't have access to anything. You can't play anything. How stupid is it that when there's an internet outage or their network goes down, you can't play any of your games now? You're basically staring at a brick. That to me is bullcrap. That shit. Like if you own something digitally or whatever else, I understand the DRM thing. I get it. But I mean, there is a point where you have to draw the line and be like, listen, man, I bought this for $100 up here, and like Aussies, you know what I'm talking about. The games are $100 with tax up here now. Okay, each game is $100. This is bringing me back to the '90s with the Super Nintendo. Remember that the cartridges were like $100 back in those days, at least in Canada. And that being the case, I don't have access to what I purchased. Are you out of your mind? What the hell is that? That's like me buying my car, and then all of a sudden there's I don't have access to the car because I can't get in touch with, like, I don't know, the Tesla program or whatever the hell it is, their online system and all this stuff, and I can't drive the cars. Like, how stupid is that? It makes no sense to me. And now, because of all this, I've reversed my feelings on it. And guess what? I started going to GameStop again. I've been walking in there every week and buying my games on physical and this and that, whatever. And I've even said it on multiple shows, and I'll say it right here because I don't care. I don't care. I'm not a clout chaser, okay? I will, if I'm not happy with Game Pass, I will buy Xbox games piecemeal. I have no problem doing it.
Sure, okay.
If Indiana Jones is an absolute banger and I want it and whatever else, I'm going to buy the game. I'm not going to, why am I going to subscribe to Game Pass if for like 3 months after that there's games I don't want to play? Like, I'm just saying, like, if there's, like, indie games and stuff, I don't have time to play everything, and I want to get those experiences in. I'm not going to get Game Pass. I'll just go buy it. Xbox gets my money one way or another. Who cares? Call of Duty Gulf War, I'm not going to be renting that because Call of Duty is the kind of game you could play 8 months later, 10 months later, whatever else. I'm just going to buy it for $100, and it's mine.
Yeah, it depends on if you play only the campaign or you only play the multiplayer. And if you only play the multiplayer, renting it might be better. I don't know, but I'm the opposite of you, so I'll argue the other opposite point of this.
Go for it.
I own almost zero physical games. In this game room studio here, I don't have a single disc to play games. Everything is digital. Now, Ubisoft says, we want you to be able to play all the games you want and rent them instead of owning them. That sounds really terrible, but the problem is, I guess I could poll the audience here, but why don't you guys just write it in the chat, and I'll try to keep an eye over here as you write it. Really tell yourself, how much do you spend a year on video games? Now, if you're here in the XNC podcast, there's 1,000 people watching. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button, I must say. If you're here, you probably play a lot of games. You buy a lot of brand new games, mostly at full price. So take a second and think, and I'll ask you as well, Mag, to just give me the number. Write in the chat how much money you think you spend on games every calendar year. Now, I could tell you, for me, it's probably somewhere around $300, maybe $400, maybe close to $500. I'm going to say $400. That's how much I spend in games every year. Now, I also get Game Pass, so there's a bunch of games I don't have to buy because of that. The other question is, how many of those games that you own, either physical or digital, what percentage of those? There's two numbers I want you to write. How much money do you spend per year on games? And what percentage of all of your games do you end up replaying, or they just kind of become a one and done? I own it. I can play it whenever I want, but I don't. That's fair. Why I think Ubisoft's kind of like, are you really? It's not the right thing to say. Are you really playing those games again? Do you need to own them? I think they're kind of leaning in like, we can develop a business model that might save you money and let you play more games. I don't know if they can do that, but I'm looking at the chat. Snake Eyes is 3,000. Matthew says 500. 200 for Stage. Sparhawk 450. So 300 to 400. So everyone is around the $300, $400 a year price point. Where are you at, Mag? How much do you think you spend on brand new games for 1 year?
Now, hold on a second. Before I say my number, and obviously my number is going to be much higher because of the Canadian dollar, right? But the thing is,
okay, yeah, sure.
Let's say you said an average of about $400, right? But you also pay Game Pass. How much is Game Pass Ultimate in the US?
$180
per month.
So $200. So yeah. I could say $500 to $600 is a fair number.
So yeah. Okay. So I would say that's about the same for me, but in Canadian, maybe about 700 if you include whatever. But to be fair, I usually, because I can't get to every game or whatever, and I also don't overbuy. Like, I don't buy games day one that I know that I'm not going to touch for 4 months. So I'll wait. So, like, for example, like Final Fantasy 16 is on the list, and I ended up getting it for 50% off because it was on sale. So that being the case, I also am a little bit more of a frugal shopper when it comes to that, because I'll wait for a sale, like let's say a Black Friday sale, and I'll pick up 4 or 5 games that came out earlier in the year. Right? So sure. I actually get like double the amount of games, but I usually get them on sale, because what's the point of getting the game day one if I'm not going to play it? The only game I really play day one is either Call of Duty or, like, let's say a big, huge game like a Grand Theft Auto that's unavoidable.
Or
that's
Hogwarts.
Happening day one,
yeah,
right?
Or
like Hogwarts was another one. Indiana Jones will be another one because I'm such a huge Tomb Raider / Uncharted fan. Indiana Jones will be a day one. That kind of thing, right? But the rest I get on sale. So I would say I probably get about 15 to 20 games a year, maybe a little bit less, I purchase, right? And then I probably spend about $700.
Okay.
A year.
So with the conversion, we spend about the same amount on games per year.
We're spending we're the same amount. You and I are basically mirror images of each other, just different currency.
I just think maybe Ubisoft, we'll close this topic out and get back to the games, but I think Ubisoft is probably thinking, if we can get a bunch of you guys to enjoy this value and be happy with it, because they use the word happy in that statement, where they want you to be happy, because people on Game Pass are happy with what they get for that amount of money, and maybe there needs to be a bigger segment of people that enjoy the a la carte. You don't have to own them because you don't really replay them. It's a dicey thing to say, and we're still in early days of people kind of making the conversion over the way we do our music and movies. All right, let's talk about Avowed. We had people waiting a little bit of time on this one. It's set in the Pillars Center universe. It's bigger than Outer Worlds. Like the open world areas are a bit bigger to traverse left and right and up and down. There's different biomes, all kinds of different biomes. It's more of a very magical look or take on what we see from Skyrim, like bigger glowing mushrooms, lots of different color bursts, and just an exaggeration of what the fantasy theme type game is. And then you have melee weapons, you have flintlock weapons, and you also have 1- and 2-handed spells, fire and elements, and shock, ice, stuff like that. So those are all, that's like all the recipe of what you want in a game. Loot, gear, tiered leveling up, different powers, building your character if you want more melee based or a mix. Like I remember in Skyrim, I had the axe in one hand, and then I had fire and electricity in the right hand, and I did that for quite a while. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. I mean, that should sound somewhat enticing, and I think it kind of has to win you over, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, for me, it's the aesthetics. It's not the weaponry, the magic, that kind of thing. If I'm facing like glow in the dark, goofy octopuses, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? Like it's got it. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to see.
Yeah, the spider look kind of goofy.
Yeah, sorry, it was a spider, not an octopus. But
No,
I
know
was
what you
making
mean.
I was making a joke about it. But yeah, it's the same. You knew exactly what I was talking about. I don't like I said, I'll pump the brakes until I actually get a better look at it this week. Which is in 48 hours. We're gonna know exactly what we're dealing with, and then from there, even if I'm not impressed at that point, that might be the kind of thing where I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'll see if it, you know what I mean? I'll still give it a shot, whatever. I'll wait for reviews if I find it iffy. I'll wait for reviews, see what other people say. And I don't mean reviews like, strictly like IGN or Game Rant or something. I'm talking about YouTubers that I know personally or YouTubers that I trust, right? Because we have the same taste in games, like Mr. Boomstick XL. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick XL. I'm sure he's listening to us right now, or if not, tomorrow when he's doing his vacuuming and cleaning he's out there somewhere. He usually listens the next day while he cleans his cleans his house. So here's the thing. Him and I have the same taste. So when he reviews a game, if it's not on his channel, or if he's just talking about it on one of his shows, I take it to heart because Boom and I have literally the same taste. And I swear, if you went to both of our catalogs of games, it's probably the identical games, right? So I trust people like that. Skill Up is another one I trust. ACG is another one that I trust. Shout out to him. He started, he started following me on Twitter. Thank goodness. Actually, DM him now. So, I listen to those guys. Destin, I listen to Destin Legary. I trust his opinion when it comes to games too. Your opinion. Randall Thor is another one, because Rand is another one who, he sells me on a lot of games too, because he gets his hands on them before I do. And then I'm just like, God damn it, Rand.
Yeah, with Rand, I know what I'll like and sometimes what I won't like. And He'll say, I'll say, I don't think I'll like that. And he's like, yeah, I didn't think you would either. And he's usually pretty right. So,
and that's why I'm saying I may wait for them to get a hand on it and tell me, say, hey, and then, but like I said, let's take one step at a time before I ramble on too long.
Yeah.
My first step is let's watch the show. Okay. I'm not going to poo-poo anything until I get my hands on it, my eyes on it. And then we'll get to the reviews, and then we'll get the hands. And then we take it from there.
Avowed certainly needs to have a much better leveling and gear system than Outer Worlds did. That was one of the things that really took me out of loving to death Outer Worlds. Was I got halfway through the level tree and I'm like, I don't want any of this stuff. And when you're scratching and you're waiting to get that next level up because you want to get that next circle opened up or that next node, and I did halfway through Outer Worlds, I didn't even want to unlock anything. So me as playing a lot of Grounded, if it has crafting and gear level up and gear creation and tiered gear, the way that Grounded did, if you don't know anything about Grounded, I'll just tell you that the way you level up your weapons and your armor is brilliant, and it's so satisfying. So, I can't wait for that. So I think we will get to see, I don't remember exactly what the words were that Microsoft said about Avowed, but we're going to see a bunch of gameplay, I'm sure. And I hope they totally win us over, because I've been a little bit on the fence, because like I said, I really like Outer Worlds, and I want to really, really like Avowed as well.
Sure, yeah, like I do too. Like I'm not like, like I said, I'm not poo-pooing the game, and I'm not like going into it negatively. I'm just telling my personal feelings from the second showing that we saw. That's what I'm basing it on, because that's my last interaction with that game, was that second showing. That first one was just a tease. Then I got the second showing, and I was like, now you got to kind of win me back a little bit.
I'm there with Hellblade 2, Mag. Like, Hellblade 2 has to win me over just a little bit more for me to be super hyped. Like, I know it's going to be great. I know it's going to be better than the first game, but I'm waiting to see if there's just a little bit more information or whatever they talk about while they're in Iceland sipping Mai Tais in a volcanic pool of water. That gets me even more excited. Gosh, this year is fantastic for Xbox. Even IGN's like, they're going to trounce PlayStation with the first-party releases, and as long as those games land, we've got a lot to look forward to. KJ Wars 85 gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you. I don't know who got those channel memberships, but you get early access to videos. Like I did that Contraband video that came out this morning at like 6 a.m. my time, and channel members, all like 45 people checked it out last night while I was going to bed. So we appreciate that. Highlander with D. Yes.
Oh, no, sorry. I was going to say, you also get access to Colt's OnlyFans page. You get 10 free days, and then after that, you have to pay for it. So, carry on, Colt.
Lots and lots of feet pics. Highlander001 with a 5. Thank you, Highlander. Says, hey, guys, Mag, get any new 1-Up arcade cabinets? Big Bang Theory ruined Raiders of the Lost Ark for me. Oh, I don't know that reference because I didn't watch the show.
I know that reference. Yeah, it's the fact that if you actually watch the movie, even though Raiders of the Lost Ark specifically is actually one of the best, not the, but one of the best crafted films ever made. And it's up in the pantheon of, I would say, the top 5 to top 10 best crafted films ever made.
Doesn't age.
But it doesn't age, and that's one of the things. There's many. I mean, I could talk about it for an hour. But the thing is that in Big Bang Theory, they did point out something which is really funny, and it's actually kind of true. If you actually take Indiana Jones out of the movie, he didn't actually do anything. Because the Nazis still would have gotten the Ark. They still would have taken it to the island.
He never stopped anything. He
actually never stopped anything. So, and then they still opened the Ark, and then they all still died anyway. So if Indy wasn't there, they would have found the Ark on their own. They would have taken it to the island and all died anyhow. He had literally no impact on the story. And the funny thing is, you're like, holy crap, it's totally true.
I got to say this. I've never heard anybody else talk about this, but Indiana Jones, Uncharted, and Tomb Raider all have this problem, okay? I'm going to set the scene for you.
Sure.
Nathan Drake or Indiana Jones or Lara Croft go into this remote location in ancient ruins in a jungle that no one's ever been in before. No one's ever seen or found on satellite imagery. They go into this place and no one knows they're there except for them and their sidekick. And they go in there and they pull all these crazy puzzles and they get into this cave and they grab this relic. And every time they turn around and the bad guys, they're like, thank you for doing all the work for me.
Yeah.
How did you know where they were? How did you find it? How did you get past all the flying spears and the poisonous darts and all this stuff? Every time in all the movies and the video games, the bad guy shows up at the last minute and has to do no work, grabs the relic or the idol, and then hightails it out of there. That's always bugged me. Even though I love those things.
First of all, I'm going to say two things about that. That reminds me of Star Trek. Whenever they say where no one has gone before, yet every time they get there, there's already somebody there. They get to this planet, it's like, no one has ever gone here before. And then they get there, and there's already a dude standing there going, hey, man, what's up? And they're like, what are you doing there if no one's gone there before? Anyways, that's the first thing.
They're like setting up a store. Okay, well, we'll have opening weekend. This will be grand opening.
Well, you made it sound like that was a joke. You're like, Nathan Drake, Lara Croft, and Indiana Jones walk
into a bar. And the bartender says, why the long face? Yeah, it does sound like a joke.
Either that or I was going to say, Lara Croft walks in the bar. The bartender says, are those triangles? Anyways, let's go. Let's carry on with it. I'm going to go get a beer after that one. I need a beer. I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. Well, hey, it's just me. I can't even think straight now. We got, he didn't answer the rest of the question. Eric Goff, thank you so much for the $5 super. He says, Mag is old Vegeta. You have to forgive me. This is his first super chat. Welcome. Thank you for hanging out on Ecstasy Podcast. We appreciate you. We've got 1,000 people watching. Hit the like button, please. Do your best. And hey, if you get hungry and you want easy meals, try that Factor thing out. When I get 5 subscriptions, they're going to tell me wow, you did an amazing job. And I'm like, well, I'm not a salesman. No, I'm just kidding. Legendary Obi, thank you for the $2. Says peace, love, life to you two legends.
Love you, Yobi. You're the best,
Thank
brother.
you, bro.
Well, you're the best next to Cold and myself, obviously.
Matt McDonald Media with the Canadian 5 says, thank you, Mac. He says, AAA games brand new where I live in Canada are $93 to $102, with HST. So what's HST?
Harmonized sales tax. It's not fun. It's just not fun. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. So then when something's $80, it's actually closer to $95 now.
Oh, wonderful. Love it.
Yeah, all right, that's fantastic. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I remember when my oldest first got a job, she's like, where's all my money go? I'm like, welcome to planet Earth. He says, I love Game Pass. It saves me so much money. The cost of 2 AAA games is equal to 1 year of Game Pass. Facts.
Yes, it is.
Grandpa Barbecues Game Cat with the $20 Australian super chat. Thank you so much for being here every week. Game Cat, barbecuer, Game Cat. He says, but so many game discs aren't complete anymore. Day one patches, games buggy that need multiple patches. If devs pull an all digital content, you need to reinstall the disc so it could be unplayable. And I agree with Mag. So,
all right, thank you.
All right, you like the cheesecake? He never said that.
You like hot fudge sundaes? All right.
Give me that. It's my favorite. All right, let's talk about let's talk about Halo's multiplayer mode. Now, I said Meg and I kind of got ourselves into trouble this past weekend, didn't we, buddy? While you were on that show,
yes.
Infinite Umbra, who's in the Infinite podcast, was talking about how excited he was about Halo Infinite's or Halo's certain Affinity multiplayer mode, whether it be Battle Royale or something else. And I had heard a few days before from a close friend of mine, and I don't even know where the info came from. So here's my apology, all right? I'm sorry that I said this, but I wrote in the chat because I was just listening as a viewer. I said, I heard that the certain Affinity thing has been shelved. And everybody on the show was like, oh man, that sucks. And then that got reported in the news cycle.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
I apologize for saying that. I shouldn't have said anything because a close friend of mine said that who probably heard it from somebody that may have a reputable source, and it wasn't my place to say that, and I apologize. I was kind of feeling a certain way that night where I was like, I didn't want Umbra to get like super excited about something that might turn up to be a disappointment. It's quite possible. Here's what I think is actually happening. Just from me just guessing what's probably happening, because where there's smoke, there's fire. That certain Affinity has probably just kind of maybe morphed what that is. Maybe it was a battle royale at one point, and they've morphed it into some other type of multiplayer add-on or some standalone thing. But I mean, I just can't see it really being shelved. But that's stuff that people are hearing, like Xbox Era's podcast. They said they've heard some of the same things, but they don't know if it's true either. So we're all kind of sitting in the same boat. But I just kind of feel like certain Affinity's probably kind of morphing or changing that into something else to be some type of Halo content that'll be standalone. I don't know, Mag, do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm going to reserve my thoughts on what I know about that. There's, I mean, it
meaning you've heard things as well, you just don't know where they're from or how reliable they are? Or you don't want to say anything else than that?
It's what's pretty up, reliable. Yeah, no, that one, those are cards I play close to my chest. Like I said, there's a line that we might as well get into this very briefly.
Sure.
There's a line that I did a lot of self-reflection and stuff about like what I do know. And it wasn't just because of that, my show on Friday. It's just in general something I was thinking about. And I'm like, there's a line you don't want to cross. I know people want to hear everything. Some people, not everybody. But the thing is, there's also, you have to respect what people are doing. And the thing is, when it comes to specifically, like let's say Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, ABK, things that they're working on, things that I know about, things that other people know about, you also don't want to ruin the surprise, not only for the gamers, but you're talking about the people that work on these games. They work so hard to keep the security up there. They want to keep it as a surprise. It's something that they know it's going to make a big splash at like the summer showcase or something like that people don't see coming. You get those reaction videos on YouTube of people freaking out. You lose all that when you know everything. And I don't want to know everything. I really don't. I mean, some stuff just comes across my plate and it is authentic. But I don't want to see everything. I'd like to be surprised too. I'm a fan, right? I am a fan of this stuff. But when I do find out stuff, and I have stuff that I don't want to, I'm never going to talk about until it's made public. Otherwise, I know some people might oh, what an easy cop-out, right? I know it sounds like a good cop-out saying,
I know.
He doesn't know anything, and that's why he's not saying anything. Boy, are you ever wrong. But I also don't want to ruin those surprises for those people. I want those team members, like for example, look at the people at Rockstar. How pissed off were they that some douchebag 13-year-old, I was about to say something horrible. It's a good thing I stopped myself. It's still PG, okay? I just said pissed. That still counts as PG.
You're fine.
Yeah. I was going to say something horrible. Like, he leaks the trailer a day before and ruins, like, Rockstar that been working on this for, like, 8 years
I picture it's the guy that went up on stage and said, Rabbi Bill Clinton or whatever. That's the kind of guy I picture.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's the duality of that. Like, you and I are both like, I don't want to spoil, but I also don't want to ruin the fun for the people that are actually, we're not making the games, they are. It's their surprise. When things change, like I feel like it should be okay to get a heads up if something's going to get canceled or changed, but we're not even meant to hear that information as it is anyway.
No. Right, and the other thing is, like, for example, I did tease something which did make its way to a lot of media outlets this weekend, IGN, Game Rant, and some other people. Whatever, they were saying that that an old Xbox IP is being revived. Well, that is true, but I didn't say what, and I'm not going to say what. I'm never going to say what. Let the cards fall where they may, so that it makes the splash that it deserves. Because the people that are working on it, they don't deserve to have somebody just come out and just, like, poke a pin in their balloon and ruin their, you know what I mean? And ruin their party. That's not cool. And so I refuse to be a part of that. I refuse to be a part of that. And, when I thought about it.
And I apologize for being a part of that many times.
Sure. And I will Jez does it right.
I like talking about it once somebody big has, like, corroborated it. Then I feel like it's fair game, but it's still, I don't know.
Some of the stuff is way early, but the thing
Meg
is,
and I are going to be riding the line the best way we know how to do that. We're gonna. It's going to be a growing process because.
Yeah. And I don't want Xbox. Listen, Xbox people listen to the show, Colt.
Yeah,
I mean, I got we got Greeny that follow you and I and everything else, and other executives that we talk and you know what I mean, have any kind of contact with whatsoever, and we do. I don't want that person sitting at home going, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like when they hear like something come out, I don't want that, and that's not cool because then you lose a rapport with people, and these are people at the end of the day. They're not robots. They're not anything else. These are human beings that are working on these projects for long periods of time. I don't want to ruin it for them.
And they're going to have breakfast with you at E3. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly. Now, see, the way Jez talks about things, he words things very carefully, and he puts out little nuggets out there, but never spoils anything, really. Right? And so it's kind of fun in a way that, like for example, when I said that the Xbox IP being revived, that is truthful. That's 100% fact. That's coming. And it was fun to watch people speculate and have conversation about it in a fun and healthy, positive way. I have no issue with it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that people can say, man, it must be these 5 or these 4 different IPs. Before we talk about that, I want to ask you about the Gears collection because I talked to people at Xbox E3, not official people, that said that Gears was supposed to be shown at the showcase and it wasn't quite ready, so they pushed it. We thought we would see it at the Game Awards in December. Now that is coming past a month ago. We're not seeing it, obviously, at the Developer Direct. Now I'm going to change the way I say this because I almost said the word heard or hear, which gets me into trouble. Now I think that Gears is probably being saved for the showcase. Like you're not going to have it Developer Direct. It's not ready to come out, or maybe it is. But I
think the showcase. I know it's so hard.
I know.
I think the showcase in the summer would be your best option because that's a bigger showcase. This is a smaller one to basically. It's like the appetizer. It's the aperitif before you start the meal, right? So like you get into that. That's the kind of thing that starts you off the year. You got the landscape of what's coming out the next 12 months. Hopefully, I mean, I know we've been through that once with Xbox. You remember that? It's like
they're kind of
coming within 12 months.
They've kind of dug themselves into a trench right now, Mag, where the games are just going to come out.
Now.
Like there's nothing else they can do. Right?
They're ready.
So
they're ready.
Back to Gears. Like I think it's very possible that if this Gears collection does exist, that maybe it's a holiday release that comes out. I don't know how big that will be. Gears has really waned over the past decade, really. But what are the possibilities that Gears has a reemergence with 6 and a collector's edition? What is that possible, or do you think it's likely?
Well, it would make most sense to release a collection before 6 because you want to whet people's appetite to get back into into the franchise. At the same time, you also don't want to oversaturate it with too much Gears. All of a sudden, if you get a Gears collection, let's say there's theoretically 3 games in that collection, or you know what I mean, or 4 games in that collection, and then all of a sudden you play 4 Gears games, and then they release Gears 6. You're like, ugh, I'm geared out.
So Gears would be better suited for 2025 after a year of Gears collection, which sounds pretty tantalizing, if I may use that word on the air.
Sure. Like, I know Crispy Bomb would like. I see him I saw him in the chat earlier. Shout out to Crispy. Sorry about the Steelers yesterday. Looks like the steel curtain was made out of silk. Oh well. I guess Josh Allen took care of that. Anyways, sorry, I had to throw the stab at him. Sorry, Crispy, you're a great guy. Anyways, he loves Gears. I mean, people like that. He'll play it all day long and whatever else. Great. But not everybody's. You know what I mean? People will get gearsed out. And so, therefore, I would think that your best option, keep it a year apart, get people's appetites wet for this thing and be like, oh, man, now that we got the foundation, now that we know the backstory for 4 and 5, let's get into Gear 6 and let's party. You know what I mean? But that's the way I see it.
Okay, I like that. I can see that, too. What was the rumor or talk about the Coalition working on something besides Gears? Weren't they helping another studio work on something recently? Because
that's where it gets muddy because
you
do hear that like they were working on a different IP, right?
And that according to Jeff Grubb, that was pretty reliable that the Alpha Point demo, which was like a new IP, was shelved. Right. But they publicly said that they were helping State of Decay's Undead Labs for quite a while. So it seems like Coalition has not been able to work on their stuff. They were doing the Unreal Engine 5 demo, the Matrix Reloaded. They were helping more than just Undead Labs with Unreal Engine 5 expertise. And so it's like if they can finally buckle down and work on Gears, maybe we'll see something this year and next year.
Yeah, but the thing is, Colt, when you get down to it, when it comes to like, it's like, oh, they're working on a new IP. Could be 5 guys in the corner. You know what I mean? Like just working on, like just, tooling away at something, just, you know what I mean? Like chipping away at a concept, that still counts as working on something new, a new IP or whatever else. Those 5 people can turn into 10 people, and then if the thing takes off, can turn into 500 people working on a project. And that's how it always happens. Well, that's like Naughty Dog started in a guy's garage. No joke.
Yeah, somebody in the chat asked if Perfect Dark was canceled. Like that's exactly what Perfect Dark was doing. They were set with 25 leaders that were supposed to concept and build the game and then bring in a team like Crystal Dynamics to build it. Problem is Crystal Dynamics is kind of working on the new Tomb Raider game, and then they'll start full force working on Perfect Dark. So we think Perfect Dark is 2026. And I would hope we see it this year. What's that?
At this rate, you might not even see it till next gen at this rate, especially if next gen is coming sooner rather than later.
2026 for a new console with no mid-gen, like 2026 is sounding really, really reliably plausible. I don't know what the right word is, but I have a whole video about 2026 being the next-gen console and being ahead of PlayStation. Not to beat them, but to say, we don't care. We're doing our own thing. We need new hardware, and here we go. So, yeah, that's gonna be really cool.
Really cool. Crispy Bomb is already in the chat about he's catcalling about the game yesterday. Come on. Anyways, Can you do me a favor? Now that we're talking about this and the possibility of like some of those IP making it to next gen, pop in a poll and say if a console's coming out, if Xbox release a console in 2026, would you purchase it day one? Or
if Xbox makes next gen, I'm writing as I talk, next gen console in 2026, would you
adopt day one?
Would you buy day one? Let me make sure this will fit. Okay, I'm asking out in the chat. And those of you who are listening to the Ecstasy podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, or Pocket Podcasts, where you can't interact with a live poll, I'm writing, if Xbox makes the next-gen console 2026, would you buy one day one? And if you're in the car listening to the show, just yell your answer and then have a pedestrian look at you like you're crazy. Here, it's in the poll, right? It's in there. And I know some of these polls, Meg, I haven't been doing them often because on the mobile app on YouTube, sometimes they show up as a white box and you can't read them, but I haven't seen any complaints. Maybe they kind of fixed that, but
no, they actually changed the poll. The poll is now, it is a white box now, where it wasn't before. And if you click on it, first of all, it minimizes, but then when you click on it, it enlarges again. So, all right, so right now, overwhelmingly, it's sitting at like a 75-25 for yes, which is actually surprising because I figured a lot of people had trouble. Like, I mean, except for the day one adopters, which I would imagine most people in our chat probably adopted day one, the Series X. Series X was hard to buy.
Oh, so, I'm wondering, all the consoles were hard to buy.
You know what I mean? So, that being the case, like, some people have only had the Series X for like a year. Some people just got it. So then all of a sudden they're just like,
I hear that complaint.
You know what I'm saying? So you get that and you're like, 3 years, like, come on, man. Like,
I'll say it again, Mag. I will be the guy to tell you normalize new consoles every 5 years. If I can take this Series X down to GameStop and they give me $300 and then for 200 more I get the next console, I will not shed a tear. I will happily do that. But I'm crazy. What?
Colteastwood.
What?
Let me bring something up now that you brought it up. We just had a little bit of a tiff over digital or physical. You know, you won't be able to take your consoles down to GameStop to trade them in if people stop buying physical. Huh?
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
I know, and I can't use eBay because I angrily deleted an account I had for like 15 years. I had an eBay account since like when they first were like the first year they were new. I got so tired of their crap where they if somebody decides I don't want to buy that and they just leave you hanging. There's a video on my channel about that where I actually drew cartoons for it. You should check it out. When you get really bored, go Google Colteastwood eBay and you'll find it. And my daughter actually voices one of the characters in the little scenario thing. It's great.
Oh, cool.
Eric Goff says, thank you for the super chat, Eric. He says, where no man has gone before, it's just Captain Kirk's freakiness. And he did make out with a lot of blue chicks in that.
Oh, man, blue chicks, green chicks. The guy did not discriminate, I'll tell you that, especially in bed. What a gangster he was. Meanwhile, Picard was always in his room. I love Picard too, but I mean, like, every time you go hang out in his room, he's just drinking tea and playing a flute. And I'm like, dude.
He's putting Bengay on his ankles. Yeah, you gotta love Picard.
Oh no, I love Picard too, but I mean, come on. I mean, they're totally two different captains, but man, the renegade James T. Kirk, you didn't know if he was. I can't even say it. I was going to say
Tiberius Kirk. I know that much. I know that much.
Yeah.
Michael Mooney, man. Thank you so much for the 20 pound super chat. He says,
that's
Microsoft? Isn't it nice? Yeah. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. Meg and I have got a sponsorship coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We hope you guys kind of join in with us too. We'll have a good time on the show. Thank you, Michael Mooney, for this one. He says, could Microsoft be ballsy with 3 games before April? 2 games before the end of 2024, and then April do another show with 2 games before June showcase and 3 games before the end of 2024. He says, then June show third parties coming before the end of 2024.
Dude, that's a mouthful, man. That's a lot to unpack. I would say this. Here's my personal thought. Let's not forget, as we always, like a lot of people keep forgetting, that Call of Duty is now considered first party. So you've got to count that. You got to count that as a big exclusive, even though it's not exclusive. We're going to call it an exclusive in air quotes because you're getting it day and date on a service that you never would have gotten before. So I would think that they release 2 games in the fall, 2 games in the fall plus Call of Duty. I say 1 big AAA, 1 slightly smaller, maybe a third-party game like a Stalker 2. We keep forgetting about Stalker 2, by the way. I'd say like a Hellblade, Stalker 2, and a Call of Duty Gulf War is a fantastic lineup for the fall for Xbox. I don't see any reason they should do anything otherwise. Or if they decide to move Hellblade into May and do that there, right? So you got Hellblade over there, and then maybe you sneak in some. Well, there's a couple other games, Avowed maybe in the fall. And maybe
I don't know what 3 games would be before April. I don't know if what they have other than May.
And Indiana Jones. I see Indiana Jones in September, Avowed in like October.
I like that.
Call of Duty late October, early November, and that's it for the year. That's enough. If that's not enough, what the hell else are you doing?
Jez Corden said that Towerborn had been moved to later in the year. It wasn't quite ready. Otherwise, it would have been in the Developer Direct. So we do know that Xbox has the Developer Direct where they're going to show 4 games, possibly 5, which we didn't cover because we kind of moved on from that. But my prediction, it's just kind of like a prediction, is that Double Fine is ready to show their game because it's kind of been talked about a little bit. Double Fine's got this little arcadey game called Kiln that's been in the works for a while. I don't know how impressive it'll be because most of their games are not as amazing as Psychonauts. But this Kiln game could be the 5th they sneak in the graphic, and then they showcase this Kiln game. I also don't think, Mag, that it's going to be Shadow Dropped. I think Shadow Drop is a super special thing. I think they tried with Hi-Fi Rush, and I don't even know if it really worked for them. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say that, don't count out that, the outsider of South of Midnight. South of Midnight is moving along quite well. So I mean, that could also sneak its way into the end of the year. It's not a monster AAA title that's going to, you know what I mean? It's more like that.
It's
game
a double
contract.
A that wanted to be AAA, as far as we know. They asked for AAA money, and I don't think they got it. So,
Contrast is one of their games. Fantastic game, amazing double A game. Another one, like not by them, but I'm saying like in the terms of like the quality, I would say maybe like a Little Nightmares, like maybe that level of game. Right, so those are games that they. By the way, Little Nightmares 3 is coming out. I'm so excited.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
so excited.
great game.
The first two games were some of my favorite smaller games out there. By the way, the Doctor, what's up, buddy? So South of Midnight might sneak in there too. So you never know, or maybe they sneak it in the summertime and have something to hold over, you know, the Xbox fans in the summertime before you dive into the Avowed Indie Jones Golf War fall. Right, and that's a solid 2024. That's a solid. You know what I mean?
And the June showcase for 2024 is supposed to be really, really awesome.
Yes.
2022, they were like, sorry. I mean, it was a great show. I mean, but it was like, sorry. And then 2023 was fantastic when the whole thing was Starfield and Avowed making its appearance and Fable being shown. So I would expect a lot from June Showcase 2024. Sounds like the Xbox team's really super excited about how everything's fallen into place. Like Activision and Blizzard can finally be incorporated into that show with Bethesda. So we have a lot to look forward to. Michael Mooney's like super chat about all these games having like an extra showcase. I did tell Xbox it'd be great if they had one more or just had a big presence at Gamescom or Game Awards. And so I think 3 big presences is pretty good. So thank you for that super chat. Spider with the NOK 50 says, thank you, Spider. Says, rumor, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 was going to be first current gen only, but Phil Spencer's commitment to Nintendo will make Modern Warfare also come to Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. Believable, he says. Yeah, I don't know if that's true, but it does sound believable that they would continue to make it multi-platform. But the reality is, Spider, that this summer or maybe this spring, Nintendo will probably reveal that new Switch, which is like as powerful as a PS4. You could go either way with that, but that's a good call. Thank you for the Norwegian krone, Spider. That's awesome.
Hey!
I really want to go there. That's my homeland. I'm an 8th Norwegian. I don't know what that means, but I think there's something called Kveldfish.
My favorite Norwegian, Midnight's Edge, man. They're one of my favorite YouTube channels out there. I love them. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, anyways, carry on.
Yeah, beautiful. Matt, fun speculation with a big $10 super chat. And he's got the channel membership with the Series X glowing in green. He says, Summer Show announced Gears 6 with a big reveal, an amazing trailer, and when you think it's over, show a remade Mad World trailer and announce Marcus Phoenix Collection. He said, would be chills.
Yeah. That would be something. And
can't lose
that's a possibility.
that idea.
It's a possibility. It's not for sure, but it's a possibility.
I like
we
that.
Don't know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Trell Roberts, thank you for the 2. He says, I'm ready for the showcase. Are you guys going? Yes, Trell, I hope to go to the showcase this June as long as my channel stays alive and I can make the way over there and the flight and everything. But I'm
not sure about my travel plans this year. I still have to iron out because I had a big federal inspection and audit at my company, and so that was my focus for right now. It just happened. No, it was great. It actually worked out great.
Oh, okay.
So now.
I'll make sure it goes.
Now that's finally over. Literally, it just happened today. The end of it happened today. So now I'm going to focus on my travel plans for 2024 and see what's going on. I know I'm making my way back to Nashville, but What
we're going to do is we're going to make excuses for Mag to attend the showcase in June in LA, so I can lean down and give him that hug. Little 5'8.5" self there. Wait, are you 5'8" in Canadian inches or American inches?
Oh. Stop it, Colt. It's the same. What do you think? It's the metric system? Something different?
It's the Canadian imperial system, which is French Canadian, and the conversion from European. So we're about the same height. Magnum Westward with a channel member for 2 months. Says, Colt, can't wait for your sizzle reel on the Xbox Direct. I'm going to be watching the show with everybody on Thursday, and I'll probably make a video at the end of the night. Highlander, thank you so much for the 5. Says, I got a new Samsung TV, and the salesman told me it came with 3 months of Game Pass, and the app WAA on it won't load. I don't know. Man, I don't know what he says. And the app with it, I guess he's saying. Yeah, it has the Game Pass app. It was probably installed on it, I think is what he's saying. Mag, what's next arcade game you're getting? He wants to know. Are you getting any more?
Yeah, no, I'm getting 2 more. I'm getting a Centipede Anniversary Edition that has a bunch of different games that you play with the rollerball. So there's going to be Centipede, Millipede. There's going to be a few others on
Remember
there.
Cobalt with the rollerball?
Yeah, man. Hey, man, that might make its way on there. I'm not really sure. And then the other one is NFL Blitz, and I'm gonna get a 4-person cabinet NFL Blitz. So it's going to be monster. So what I'm going to do here is that TV behind me's got to go because that TV takes up that whole wall. It's a big TV. So, however, I'm going to have to move that to a different room, and then I'm going to put that one somewhere else to where my modern gaming is going to have to go to another room, and then because the NFL Blitz is going to take up like half a wall. You don't realize how big these things are until they're in your house.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those cabs being like, they take up your whole arm's reach to reach both corners. So they flange out for the sticks because you got to get 4 skinny dudes in there going.
Yeah, and like the thing is that like when you go to an arcade, you don't really like appreciate the size of those things. Yeah, so you don't appreciate the size of those cabinets until all of a sudden you look at it and you're like, Jesus, man, this thing is huge.
Do you have a sliding glass door that you can cart these in through the back of the house, or you just like roll them down the stairs?
Yeah, actually, I do. I occasionally have to move them down the stairs myself. It's not pleasant, but no, it's fine. And then the doors are big enough to get them in. It's not a problem.
Okay,
I have no issue with that. I have big front doors, so it's not a problem. But yeah, it's a whole ball of wax. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yes, the next ones are going to be the Centipede Anniversary Edition and then NFL Blitz, and that may be it because I'm going to start running out of room. I mean, that's going to be like 8 cabinets at that point, right?
Nice.
So yeah, it's going to be serious.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because I want to come over for NFL Blitz. I'll make the trip.
Can you imagine you fly like from like Washington, like just to come here to play NFL Blitz, and then, all right, I'm going to go back home. You get back on the flight, and that's what like super rich people do.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I'll take my private jet.
Well, they just like fly a helicopter and like just base jump out of the helicopter onto your house, and then that's it. And they get picked up and go home.
Speaking of base jumping, the Stalker 2 devs said that their game got delayed. It's supposed to be Q1. That segue didn't work. I love that. It's actually September 5th.
Yes.
Yeah, September 5th, the game's coming out. And
there you go, September 5th.
The screenshots look phenomenal, but we heard at Gamescom, which would be, I don't know, 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I guess, maybe less. I don't like to do math. Stalker 2 wasn't looking very nice. It's kind of rough around the edges. Wasn't that great, but another year, I mean, those screenshots look fire. So Stalker 2 looks really nice, and I hope it's really good. I think maybe Xbox probably extended that exclusivity agreement. They've been carrying them through and waiting them out during a ridiculously horrific war in Eastern Europe, and now they're going to deliver this game. So Stalker 2 looks great. Let's talk about this 10-year long-awaited franchise is coming to Xbox. And I'm going to start off because you know things that you don't want to say. I would rather just start off by saying what it could be, and we can discuss from there. How about that? Will that keep you safe?
I'm not worried about being like whatever. I'm not going to say it.
No one's going to grab me by the nostrils. There's a bunch of like long-awaited 10-year long. What was the phrase? Xbox era talked about it, but it could be something like it could be Banjo-Kazooie. It could be something like what's another long 10-year franchise that people have been asking about from Xbox. It could be Scalebound coming back, which we made a joke about last week. What are some other long-awaited? Chat, help us out. Some long-awaited games that Xbox has in their pocket that they haven't brought back in 10 years. What could be coming back that is supposed to set the internet on fire, according to Xbox era? Mag, you want to?
Jason Max, I'm not saying. He just says, "Say it, Max." I'm not saying. No, I can't do that. That's too sensitive. And very, very few people know. So that's the kind of thing where that if you do say so. And by the way, that was another thing. It's funny when some of the stuff came in, they're like, "Oh, man, tell me your source or you're a fraud." Oh, absolutely. I'll go and I'll expose my source so that I never hear from him again or her ever again because they're not going to trust me ever again. How stupid is that? Just so I can appease some guy on
some guy named Jeff. Okay,
yeah, like
Jeff.
some guy named Jeff on Twitter that I don't know. Sure, let me just expose my only contact. Like, these people are so stupid.
Nine Lives goes, Crackdown.
Yeah. Well, why not? Why not Crackdown?
I mean, Crackdown is 6 years off, I think it's been.
That's within 10 years. Crackdown, why not make a new Crackdown? Have a new team work on Crackdown. You know what I mean? Have somebody else take a crack at it. So, I don't know.
And we're out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
I know. And I said, everybody, that's it. We're out of here. No more super chats.
Jason Max goes, is your source Boom? What an ornery chat you guys are. You know what? I'm really disappointed in you tonight.
Yeah.
Mag has feelings too. I mean, he may be short, but that makes his heart so much more potent.
Oh my God.
Okay. Leonard goes, okay, Jeff.
What?
What? Yo, Donnie goes, what happened to Water Egg 32? Water Egg 32 is like, come on, Mag, who's your source? Say it, you coward.
Yeah, I know, and people have been doing that, and then they start saying really nasty things, and I block them, and then all of a sudden I get a message from somebody else, and the guy responds and goes, "Why did he block me?" And I'm like, I don't know. You told me to go to hell.
No.
You told me to kill myself. You told me that I'm a fraud and I need to get off Twitter.
You drew a Pinocchio nose on me.
Yeah.
And then they go, he couldn't handle facts.
He's like, he blocked me? Why? But why, sir? Why?
All I do is call him out on his BS. He can't handle facts. They always do this with their arms when they talk.
Well, yeah, it's usually because they're short, like me. The only feeling, okay.
Come on, you're stalling. What is this 10-year, long-awaited franchise? The chat's got some ideas. Sunset Overdrive. Hey, I was just playing that on PC.
Manny, that was funny.
Replaying it wasn't as great as when I first played it. I don't know. But I still like the game. What are they saying in the chat? Lost Odyssey. Is Lost Odyssey a possibility? That's a well-loved JRPG. That's like 20 years on, right?
You know, Destin did his video yesterday. He rhymed off about 10 games in there.
All right. What did he say?
I can't remember all of them. I'm old. I think Lost Odyssey was one of them. He mentioned what else was there? I think was it Crackdown, Killer Instinct, Crimson Skies. What the hell was the other one?
Some of those are like 20 years
there,
old.
There was a bunch in there, and but I mean they were there, and like I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So yeah, and then there was the big one everybody thinks is Banjo Kazooie. Conker's another one. Jada. There we go.
Let me talk about Banjo Kazooie for just a second. We hate it, but I think Phil's like, I don't say these things without meaning them. And he's like, Banjo fans, I hear you, which either means Phil's like, I hear you that you want Banjo and we're considering it. Like we're actually considering it is why he's saying that in the interview, right? That's what I get. Or maybe he's like, hey, I hear you. We're going to announce it soon. Don't worry. Like kind of that sort of thing. Like we don't like to talk about it if it's not a real thing. I don't know. I mean, Banjo could be, it's really got to be a killer studio. And I think it's going to be a third-party studio. I don't think one of Xbox's studios. I know people say, oh, they got Double Fine and they have Toys for Bob and stuff like that. Maybe Toys for Bob takes Banjo. I don't know. That's a good possibility. People are saying Killer Instinct 2 when you say Killer Instinct. Like, has there only been one Killer Instinct game, or would it be Killer Instinct 3 at this point?
Well, no, because they released the first one with the launch of the system 2013, right? And then they did a 10-year anniversary.
Hold on. Yeah. That was the very first Killer Instinct with the launch of the Xbox One?
Not ever.
Because it was wasn't it a Nintendo 64 Rare game?
Yeah, it was in the 90s. And they did at least 2 or 3 of them in the 90s, and they were in the arcades. I mean, I couldn't figure out how to play this stupid game because I was a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter guy, and then there was always some guy that walks in and was like, Ultimate Combo! And he did like a 9,000
combo breaker. Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't know how to play the game, but I was a master at Mortal Kombat. That was my jam, and Street Fighter, of course. Anyways, no, they came out in the 90s, and they were on the Nintendo 64. They were in the arcades, all that kind of stuff. They were great. However, then the reimagining, the reboot, so to speak, came out on Xbox One in 2013. Mm-hmm. So they did that. And then Iron Galaxy released 10 years later. 10 years later, just now, like this year. In 2023, they did a 10-year anniversary edition. Remember that? They released that.
I never even
And
checked
then-
it out because the enhanced version for the One X looked fantastic. I'm like, how can they improve it anymore? Let us know in the chat if you guys said it looked pretty amazing. I'm sure it looks nice.
Yeah. So that's a possibility. The Killer Instinct could be a possibility. I don't know. There's a bunch of them in there, but I'm enjoying the fact that people are having some good times. Like, Jesse P, thank you very much for that. Read his comment, but it was blocked. And no, it's not what you said it was.
Where? Is it way up here?
It says, Mag Source, I guarantee you all. Of course, Jesse P guarantees, not me, is his a-hole.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a mint? Yeah, I'm sure.
Why did he block me on Twitter?
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
people...
Jesse Penis, listen. I mean, Jesse P, listen. It's just game talk, okay? You don't have to take it so seriously. So let's not get excited.
That is true, and the whole Dying Light 2 thing, that I heard it from such a good source, and then I was talking to a very prominent YouTuber that has a really good list of sources that was messaging me back and forth. Hey, you're hearing the same thing I'm hearing? Like, he's really careful about how he or she was really careful about how they asked me, is this real? And, I felt pretty good about it. And I really like Dying Light. So I made the video, and whoo, boy, like, just based off of that, I cannot be trusted to some people. And hey, you know what? Whatever. Those people, that thumbnail said Dying Light 2 Xbox exclusive. But in the video, I said, it could be, couldn't be. This is what I'm hearing. Maybe it isn't. But,
you know what? There was originally Dying Light 2 was supposed to go to Game Pass day and date, because Microsoft had dumped $50 million, from what I heard, $50 million into the production of the game, and part of that deal was to put it a day and day in Game Pass. That did not happen. So you and I both heard the same thing from different people, and they were both reputable people, and it did, when you actually look at the facts, it actually makes sense. It's like, why would you dump all that production money in there if you weren't getting a deal out of it? What's the point, right? But they had something else worked out behind the scenes that obviously we're not privy to. And so then things change, as they often do. However, but the thing is, I don't really care what people think about what about me or what I say. What I say is what I say. And then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. That's all there is to it. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to. No one's forcing you to do anything. And so at the end of the day, you believe me, you believe me. If you don't, you don't. And then if it does come true, you best believe. I mean, I'm still going to sit there and go, well, I knew it, but okay, that's fine, cool, whatever. I don't get my feelings hurt over that kind of stuff.
It really shouldn't. It really shouldn't be that serious.
Be on YouTube.
Yeah,
you can't be on YouTube if you're gonna get all in your feels. You can't be on YouTube. And I don't mean.
Well, I guess I need to leave.
Chat. Yeah, like you can't. I'm not talking about the chat. I'm talking about performing live on YouTube. You can't be all about your feelings, because if you are, you're not gonna make it. Because people love to be keyboard warriors and whatever, and that's fine. Whatever, do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy at the end of the day.
And when you talk about like where people hear things, I can tell you, I feel pretty confident that Starfield is not currently being ported to the PlayStation 5. And I know that's something a lot of people are talking about. There is a prominent PlayStation-related YouTuber that says that they're hearing that Starfield has a PlayStation 5 port. That's something that's going to happen soon. But I'm very confident that that's not happening to Starfield whatsoever.
No. Did they say that?
And I think Starfield is going to remain exclusive forever. And it would be so funny, because if it did come to PlayStation, here comes the Xbox tax I said I didn't believe in. But I bet you that game would score 5 points higher on PlayStation. Well, plus it would have a couple of years of updates by then, and mod support and all that cool stuff.
Yeah. That would be a thing. That would be.
It is weird that the Last of Us 2 remake today is sitting at a 91 or a 92, and I'm like, I looked at it and it looks indiscernible from the PS5 enhanced port edition, or the whatever back compat, whatever they call it. But I'm
basically paying I'm paying my $10 just so I can I can get those other. They have like a whole new trophy list or whatever, and then I think you have the option. You have the option of not. Yeah, I mean it's $10, big deal.
Do you have the option of bringing your save over if you just want to load up anywhere?
However, I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that though, because I'm actually going to play it from scratch again. Because I'm not going to port over any of my trophies and stuff. I'm just going to be like, no. I'm going to start it from scratch. Just like I did with the Legacy of Thieves edition of Uncharted. That was another thing, by the way. A lot of people, especially now, especially certain people, are comparing Uncharted 4 and putting up all the screenshots. I mean, Uncharted 4 is an incredible game, gorgeous game, whatever else. And they're already like saying Indiana Jones will never look like this and this. And I'm like, okay, guys, can we see it first before we start?
That's a dumb thing to say. I mean, look at look at
really
the New Order and New Colossus.
Stop it.
Those games look amazing.
I mean? Yeah, it's like you haven't even seen the game yet. Like, let's just see what the game is, and it might be a completely different feel for all we know. You know what I mean? Like, geez, guys, like, come on, man. I don't know. People have lost their minds this year. I gotta tell you, man. So, like, in the last couple of weeks, and on the socials, people have gone completely insane, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you guys are nuts. However,
hey, let me take a side thing. Well,
yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to leak one thing. I was going to say that I can guarantee this. Jesse P, this is for you specifically. All Xbox games moving forward are going to be third-party on the Ouya. You've heard it here first, folks. It's on the Ouya. All of them are moving forward. Microsoft has revived the console. It's coming there. It's all going to be there. Yes, so we're all going to get excited for that. So anyways, Jesse P, line up. The Ouya will be for sale starting March 1st. So make sure you get to the store and get your pre-order there. Carry on, Colteastwood.
Yeah. I was going to say, Mustard in the chat was like talking about how Xbox as a console has failed. That is such a weird thing to... I learned all about the difference between perception and perspective. And it really is a perception problem where you feel like if people say the Xbox console has failed. I have to remind people like Mustard, the Xbox console is not a requisite hardware device to be in the ecosystem. You do not ever have to own an Xbox to partake in any of the things that they're making. So having the console sell as well as it does, just being another entry in, that's like saying that the ROG Ally is failing because it's not selling as much as a PS5 or a PC. It's a ridiculous premise as it is. But he also says that PlayStation has superior studios. PlayStation has fantastic studios. But this generation, Xbox's first-party studios have proven they are sitting right next to PlayStation in the amount of quality of the games they're putting out, in the OpenCritic and Metacritic scores. So it's a really great time to be excited whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or just a mix of both, which you should be. Mustard, it would really help if you play it on more than just one device. You get that perspective, and it kind of get you understand which games you really like, because Pentiment scored really high. I don't like the game, but it scored really well, and it showed that they can make an amazing game with few people. So it's all about get that perspective and that perception like lined up, and then it'll be easier for you. I promise you. Let's talk about, I think I had one more thing I wanted to read here. I have a couple things, but let's talk about Final Fantasy. I asked the chat, oh my gosh, they're split. I knew they would be, right? Are you a Final Fantasy fan? I'll make this quick.
Oh, are you asking me?
Well, I asked the chat if they like Final Fantasy because...
Oh, it looked like it was pretty split. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 57% say no, 50% say yes. And Phil signed with Square to get more Final Fantasy and Square games to Xbox. It sounds like Final Fantasy VII is in its exclusivity deal with PlayStation this spring, and I wouldn't think that a port would be ready in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but it's starting to sound like maybe this port is going to come out maybe this year, and that Final Fantasy VII's first portion of the game that came out in 2019, I think, is going to come to Xbox. And then Final Fantasy XIV was supposed to be ready to go, and Xbox Wired sent out information from Xbox PR and then yanked it today on social media. So they're ready for Final Fantasy XIV. They're almost ready, but something is holding back for the big announcements. So yeah, that's what's going on in Final Fantasy. I don't know. Mag, do you care? Do you play those? I played some of them.
I played some of them. I'm not a fan of all of them, obviously. And I got to say, like, I don't understand the numbering system. They're so confusing. And it's like, all of a sudden there's like Final Fantasy 12A, Final Fantasy 12B.
7, Retrograde, Renegade, Penetrate.
Then they go to 7. It must be a Japanese thing. Then they go to 7. Then all of a sudden they go to 14. Then back to 9. And then they release 11 online only. And then 15. And then back to 7 remake. I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? can't you count from 1 to 16 and just keep it simple? Instead of this nonsense. Anyways, that's besides the point. I did buy Final Fantasy 16. And like I said, I got it for 50% off. And it was on sale, whatever. I got it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get to it sometime this year. And it looks more like a Witcher to me, right? Like a Witcher style game. And like, it's like third person.
Are you talking about 16? Sorry.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 16. It's
yeah.
like an open, combat, that kind of thing, whatever. And I'm interested in that. So, that looks like a lot of fun. So I'm going to get in. I know a lot of people like Everborn Saga putting 100 hours into that. Shout out to Everborn Saga. And he put in 100 hours into that game, said it was great. Story was great, that kind of thing. So like right up my alley. I want to do that. So I'll get into that later this year. But right now I still got the backlog of things to get through. So I'll get to it later. But yeah, as doesn't really affect me either way. Like I'm not going to play Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I mean, I could have played them on my PlayStation 4 or 5, but I've played 3 or 4 of them, and I just don't love the series.
Yeah. Like I don't know the characters. Like I mean, I can invest.
My problem is I don't like the characters. I don't like the heavy-handed stuff. So like it just doesn't really work for me, and I don't force that upon other people, and I don't make them like or dislike something. Like my good friend Fonz loves Final Fantasy games, and I just sit back and go, "Man, I'm glad you're happy."
That's fine. Everybody's entitled to what they love. Like I don't care what people like and what they don't like. And I have a lot of friends who like literally like adore Xbox, hate PlayStation. I have friends who hate Xbox and love PlayStation. I'm like, dude, man, or lady, just enjoy what you enjoy, man.
Dude and or lady.
And or lady. I'm like, hey man, not to get all 70s on people. I'm like, dig what you dig. You know what I mean? Like it's just like play and enjoy what you like. It's your money, it's your time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just have fun. But like Final Fantasy is not really my bag. Like I played 7 way back in the day. I played 8, and then I never played another Final Fantasy game after that. And then the thing is, I went back and I tried, because I know they put Final Fantasy 7 Remake on PlayStation Plus for a while there. I don't know if it's still there. I played it for a bit and I hated it. So like
some
you know
of my
what I mean?
friends
And like
loved it. Yeah.
And some people love it. Like I hated it. I played it for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and I'm like, this just isn't for me. I'm just not enjoying it. Final Fantasy 15, I couldn't stand it. I played that on Xbox, didn't like it. And then like and then you got the flip side of the coin. You got like Jez Corden, and Jez is like, he saw Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and he's like, this is a PlayStation 5 system seller for me. This is a reason to buy a PS5 is to get that game, right? And he said that. And I guess that makes him a pony bot too, doesn't it?
Watch out. Yeah, it does.
Watch out. There's 2 of us now. It's like a disease. Next thing Colt's going to have.
It's the blight.
Colt is the horse. He's going to have a horn grown out of his head next week. Anyways, all joking aside, that's his prerogative, man. If he wants to get it and he loves it, go ahead, dude. Play it. Play 100 hours of it.
I mean, I hope it gets the support it needs, but I mean, I don't know. The problem is that Xbox fans have been conditioned to not receive those games, so they're kind of left out of the loop, and it's going to be a problem that'll have to naturally work its way out. Charlie Thompson, thank you so much for the £5 super, says, so no first-party games in the first 4 months. And yeah, I think there probably aren't. I look at the list of games that are coming out, and maybe, at the Developer Direct, they're going to give all release dates, I think. So I don't think there is anything coming out until the supposed maybe May release of Hellblade. I look at this list of roadmap games that are all pretty much 2024 and 2025. So yeah, second half of 2024. So Xbox better have some great stuff in Game Pass, and they better get their butts moving on porting a bunch of crap from Activision Blizzard over to the Game Pass. All right, we got the doctor with a 5 Canadian super.
Yes.
He says, Mag, can you buy arcade basketball for the game room? You know what I'm talking about with the real balls and shooting the inflatable ones.
Actually, it's funny he says that because there was somebody who was selling it. They had a shutdown, not an arcade. It was like one of those, like the Chuck E. Cheese kind of things where you get the tickets. They were selling one of those for like $500-$600, and it was actually pretty enticing. But the problem with those is that
sorry, did you know that the E in Chuck E. Cheese stands for M, like get 'em? So his full name is Chuck 'em Cheese. Keep going.
It is, or are you just being Colt Eastwood?
Can you imagine? Chuck'em Cheese. That's his name. Can you imagine that? That would be the worst. What's your full name? I need you to sign this document.
You actually had me going for a minute there, and I'm sitting there like completely dead silent, and I didn't realize you were being. Oh, okay. You know what? He totally got me. I need more. I
actually think it stands for entertainment or some stupid thing. Are they even anyway? Tell your story.
The Chuck E. Cheese have been completely redone and reopened and reimagined in Canada. They're amazing now.
Okay.
Yeah, they have Chuck E. Cheese. They're gorgeous now, and then they redid the menus and everything. That's the same thing like Toys R Us. Toys R Us are all over Canada. I know they you guys don't have them there. Over here, they're thriving.
Oh, Rockstar shut them down. Rockstar Games shut down the Toys R Us because they have an R in their logo. Completely shut them down.
See that one almost for half a second. Yeah. Nice try, Colt. Yeah, well, I haven't drank that much. I only had 1 or 2 pints.
Don't call me Scooter. Says take Colt drunk. He's home.
Yeah. By the way, there was a super chat earlier on that says I looked like somebody, and I don't think you read it out.
No, what? Oh, maybe I'm getting to it here in a second.
Okay, go for it.
Bucci with a member for 30 months says, so what else do you know, Mag? Spill it. We're trying.
No.
Trail Roberts with the $2 says, maybe it's Brute Force, Conquer, or Jade Empire. No, please. Mag and I don't want Conquer. Wait, Mag, do you like Conquer? Okay, good. You can stay on the show. Legendary Yobi with the $2 says, would like to see Fusion Frenzy return. I heard about that. I heard some talk about Fusion Frenzy. I don't know. Mad Monster with the $2 says, Brute Force. You guys, Trell and Mad Monster. I remember playing Brute Force in 07 when I first bought an original Xbox. I played that about 10 minutes. I'm like, this is cheesy. Maybe in 01 it was amazing, but in 07, like even in 07, 16 years ago, that game was like, to me, anyway. Small Orexia. That's a great name.
Well,
thank you for the Canadian 5. He says,
nice.
So what's up with Rare these days? Last we heard, Rare's revamping Everwild, so it'll actually be fun. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah,
I don't see a super about someone or a chat of someone saying something about what
someone
you look
says
like.
I look like old Vegeta or old Vegeta.
Oh, I read that one when you get your beer. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw that one earlier, and I'm like, I had
Wait,
to
I'm gonna
actually
look that up.
Apparently, it's like an anime character that has like a gray long beard that's like bearded, like braided like mine. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'll take that.
It's not braided, but yeah, I'm looking at him now. Oh man, I play a lot of Fortnite with my kids, and when we see Vegeta, we always yell and go kill him as quickly as possible. I'm not a big anime fan, but I can appreciate some fun. That's pretty much it. There was Satya Nadella did say that a quote where he says, we're doing what we wanted to do. We have the ability to bring our games to all platforms right now, which is Xbox and consoles, the PC, and even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming. And then PlayStation or ponies were weaponizing that. Hate to say ponies on the mic and not say it with sarcasm, like ponies. I don't mean that truly. But PlayStation guys are using this as, he said Xbox and consoles. They're going third party. I mean, Satya is literally talking about the Activision Blizzard merger is now officially theirs. They just started the year. They couldn't really even do anything with them during the holiday season. So now they're actually finally starting to strike deals. And the majority of Activision Blizzard games will be multi-platform. Book it, bookmark it. That's my prediction. But as far as we didn't really get into it as we get close here toward the end, but I really don't think that Xbox has plans. Let me take the mic for just a second here, Mag, okay? I don't believe that Xbox has plans to go multi-platform. I think what's probably happened, where there's smoke, there's fire. The Xbox may have had a conversation with studios like Ninja Theory, Bethesda Studios, and other studio suites, and just kind of told them, hey, you know what? In the future, we may look at an opportunity to bring your games that you were working on or have worked on, making a Switch 2 port or maybe a PlayStation 5 port. We're evaluating the way the market's going with everything that we have, but this is something you should keep in mind. And I also think that maybe some studios were thinking, that sounds awesome. Our games are going to get even bigger. Or maybe some studios are like, are you freaking serious? Like, we're already understaffed as it is to get a game out the door. Now we got to throw in the pipeline a PlayStation 5 or a Nintendo port. you're killing us. So I think maybe this discussion from people that I talked to that were saying, I'm hearing that, like there was that discussion going on last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago, that maybe that was like a translation of studios are being told, hey, what if this is like in the future? Because maybe Xbox wants to just be able to put their games in 2 years down the road after we've already played them and put them on the Nintendo Switch. Or maybe littler games that are multiplayer would go to PlayStation. But what I feel like, Mag, is this is something that was just kind of a talked about idea, and it just really doesn't reach for the majority of the Xbox established IPs and their suite of 15 studios within, and maybe only for the Activision stuff. So maybe it's just a conversation that's happening way ahead of anybody having anyone or anything to freak out about. And I think that's where Xbox is with third party and multi-platform.
Yeah, exactly. I can't say it any better myself. Couldn't say it any better. By the way, Chad, I see everything you're saying. That's why I took the hat off.
Oh,
I got Pierre David Moreau. I got Matthew Barrios. They're all chiming away about the Walter White thing. So I'm like, I gotta take the hat off now. So now I actually look like Walter White. But yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about wearing a hat tonight because now that I don't have glasses on, I can bring the bill down where it's supposed to be without it running into the glasses and sticking my ears out. But maybe one of these days I'll have a hat on. But you guys can see my ugly hair whenever you want.
See, I can't. Like, I have to wear the over the ear headphones. I can't wear the buds, man. They drive me insane. And like, even when I work out, I have the over the ear headphones, like the Beats headphones. But I need the over the ear cups, man, because like the other ones fall out. They bother me. Like, I'm always shoving my fingers in there. I'm like, nah, man. I need like proper. That's why I have these headphones. Yeah, I need headphones. Can't do it the other way.
We have over 800 people here, and that like button should say 500. If you guys enjoyed the show, if you felt like we gave it our all and gave you as much information and level-headed discussion as possible with some idiotic jokes in between, you enjoyed the show, show your support by hitting the like button. Thank you, everybody, for all you've done. This is episode 132. Meg, we didn't talk about what we're playing. At this point, I'm playing Sea of Stars, and I'm messing around with Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown of Crowns. And that's not the name of it. And
I know.
And yeah, just kind of chilling right now as I wait for kind of a weird 2024. What are you playing right now? And what's ahead for the week besides Developer Direct?
I am actually, I dove in neck deep in, what the hell is it called? Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I'm a huge Borderlands fan, obviously. If you actually look at my Xbox achievements, I played them all over there. And I've gotten, like, if you look at the achievements, actually, it's pretty funny. Like, Borderlands 2, the Handsome Jack collection, Borderlands 3. I got, like, 3,000 out of 3,000 achievements on all of the games because I buy all the DLC. I get perfect on all of them. Love them. That's how much I love them. So Tiny Tina's right now, for anybody on Xbox, you can get it for, like, super cheap. It's on a big sale. I think it's like 75% off right now. So it's like $15, $10, whatever the hell it is. So you can get that. And then on the PlayStation side, if you have PS Plus, it's actually free right now this month as well. So it's like a double whammy. So on Xbox, you get it like super heavily discounted. On PlayStation, you can get it for free. So, well, not free, but you know what I'm saying. It's on PS Plus. So I'm playing that right now. I am diving neck deep into Call of Duty right now. I'm getting back into the Call of Duty thing. I'm working more on like I'm trying. By the way, if anybody wants to reach out to me on Discord or whatever, I'm trying to do the co-op missions on Modern Warfare 2, as well as I'm working on Modern Warfare 3 as well. So I'm playing some of that. And then that's basically it right now. So, you know, having some fun with that. It's been like I said, business-wise, work-wise, it's been a very busy week for me. You know, because with the audit and all that stuff going on and everything else, I had a lot. I couldn't game as much as I wanted to. So it's all over now. So now I can get back into gaming. I still got to finish Alan Wake 2. But either way, yeah, it's been a great time. It's been a great show tonight. Chat, you folks are absolutely amazing. Always amazing. So much fun to be a part of. And just everything else, you know where to find me. You know where I am. But anyways, either way, great show tonight, Colt. Anything you got to say before we go, brother?
Yeah, I do. I want to thank you guys for putting up with us and really understanding like where we're coming from as we hear stuff and get you the best information we can. Like, we really appreciate it. Like, doing this show, it could be a lot of work, you know, trying to get everything together, and you guys really make it, seriously, you make it worth the time, and Mag and I have a good time on here, and we're making friends as we go along. We really appreciate you for supporting what we do on here. Also, Well, we got one from Grandpa Barbecue Gamecast as well. This pony and Xbox player says, have a good rest of the week, y'all. Yes, thank you.
Good rest of the week, buddy.
Yes, thank you. Well, we didn't talk about Contraband, but if you get a chance, please go check out the Contraband video. It covers some of the things that Mag said on the other podcast. Kind of paints a picture of the setting of the game just a little bit more than you can get from some of the info and articles. And that was a fun video to put together. So that would show your support by checking out that thing and sharing it. And then this week, tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday, I'll be watching the Developer Direct. Probably be spending that evening working on a video that will be really enjoyable, hopefully, for everybody to watch and get a rundown of what we checked out. So thanks for all you've done. Thanks, everybody. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next. We'll be back on Monday for the next show, and we'll be back to normal. Thanks, everybody. Meg, you have a good night. You get some rest.
You too,
and good luck with work. Don't let them keep you down, bro.
Never, man. Never. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you all next week.
All right. See you guys.